Hey there, welcome to Broderos. Tonight, we've got hours of chilling horror stories combined with soothing rain sounds to help you relax and sleep. Before you drift off, leave a comment below and let us know where you're listening from and what time it is. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe right away. If you end up not enjoying it, you can always take it back later. Get cozy and let the fear take over. The secret of the crypt. Have you ever felt that something was watching you, lurking just beyond your line of sight? I never believed in such things until that day when I stumbled upon the crypt hidden in the thicket behind my grandmother's old house. The air was thick with decay, the kind that clings to your lungs and makes your heart race. It was an ordinary summer afternoon, yet something about it felt inherently wrong. The shadows in the forest danced eerily, whispering secrets I couldn't decipher. My grandmother had often warned me about the forest, tales filled with warnings and superstitions that I dismissed as mere folklore. Yet, there I was, standing before a weathered stone door, half buried in the roots of an ancient tree. The door was adorned with strange carvings, twisting forms that seemed to come alive under the fading sunlight. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, I brushed away the dirt and leaves, revealing a small inscription. It read, "To those who dare, know that choices bear their weight." A chill coursed through me, but the thrill of discovery was too strong to resist. I pushed the door open, the creaking hinges echoing in the stillness, as if the crypt itself were awakening from a long slumber. Inside, darkness enveloped me, thick and suffocating. I fumbled for my phone, its weak light barely piercing the gloom. The air smelled of damp stone and something else, something metallic, like rusted iron. I hesitated, feeling the weight of the unknown pressing against my chest, but the allure of secrets long buried urged me forward. The walls of the crypt were lined with cryptic symbols and eerie drawings. Some resembled faces twisted in agony, while others depicted scenes that sent shivers down my spine. In the center of the room stood a series of elaborate tombstones, each inscribed with names. I approached them cautiously, my heart pounding. As I read the names, my breath caught in my throat. They were names I recognized, but more disturbing was my own name, carved deeply into the stone. I leaned closer, the light from my phone flickering as I read the epitaph, "Here lies the one who chose unwisely." My hands trembled as I traced the letters. Was this some kind of sick joke? I stepped back, a sense of dread washing over me, my instincts screaming that I should leave. But I felt an inexplicable connection to the place, as if the crypt was pulling me in, inviting me to uncover the truth. Suddenly, the ground beneath me shifted, and I stumbled back against one of the tombstones. It felt alive, almost like it was breathing, pulsing with an energy that set my teeth on edge. I could feel the presence of something, a weight in the air, pressing down on me. The crypt began to whisper, soft voices swirling around me like a chilling breeze. "Choose," they echoed, each repetition twisting into a cacophony of uncertainty. "Choose wisely." As the echoes faded, a thought struck me. Was this place a warning or an invitation? My pulse quickened as I stood in the shadowy crypt, the flickering light revealing the inscription on each tombstone changed with every passing moment. They morphed, reflecting the decisions I had made in my life, moments of doubt, fear, and regret. I had stepped into a realm where every choice mattered, where my past was laid bare before me. And just then, I realized I was not alone. A faint rustling echoed from the far corner, pulling my attention away from the gravestones. Tension gripped my throat as I turned toward the sound, my heart pounding in my ears. The rustling grew louder, more distinct. My heart raced as I squinted into the darkness, the beam of my phone illuminating only fragments of the crypt's sinister interior. I could see a shape, a shadow lurking in the corner, barely perceptible amidst the stones and dust. My breath caught in my throat, and I hesitated, caught between the urge to flee and the need to uncover the truth behind the sound. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling as it echoed against the cold walls. There was no response, only the haunting silence of the crypt pressing in around me. I stepped forward, the light from my phone flickering as I edged closer to the shadow. It shifted slightly, and I caught a glimpse of something, a fleeting movement, almost as if it were watching me, waiting for me to make a move. As I drew nearer, the air grew colder, wrapping around me like a shroud. I could feel a prickling sensation at the nape of my neck, an instinctual warning that I was being observed. I steadied my breath, forcing myself to focus on the flickering light, trying to pierce through the darkness. Then, without warning, the shadow leapt forward, and I stumbled back in fright. It was a cat, its green eyes glowing in the dim light, reflecting a strange intelligence that sent a shiver down my spine. I sighed in relief, but as the tension eased, I felt a wave of unease wash over me. This was no ordinary cat. Its fur was matted and dark, as if it had emerged from a place untouched by time. "Where did you come from?" I whispered, crouching to get a better look. The cat watched me with an unnerving intensity, its gaze unblinking as if it understood the gravity of the situation. I felt an inexplicable connection to the creature, as though it were a guardian of this crypt, a sentinel against the darkness that surrounded me. Suddenly, it darted past me, weaving between the tombstones with surprising grace. I felt compelled to follow, curiosity overriding my apprehension. The cat led me deeper into the crypt, its movements fluid and agile as it navigated the maze of stone and shadow. I could feel my pulse quickening, anticipation mingling with fear as I tried to keep pace with the strange feline. The deeper we went, the more elaborate the tombstones became. Each one seemed to tell a story, intricately carved with images that shifted and changed before my eyes. Some depicted scenes of joy, others sorrow, but all resonated with a profound sense of loss. I could hear the whispers again, faint at first, but growing clearer, wrapping around me like a haunting melody. "Choose, choose, choose," the voices urged, the word echoing in my mind, each repetition becoming more insistent. I felt as if the walls were closing in, pressing me to make a decision, to confront whatever lay ahead. The cat paused at a particularly ornate tombstone, one that seemed to shimmer in the darkness. The inscription was unlike the others, more elaborate, and as I approached, the words shifted and morphed. "Here lies the one who strayed too far," it read, and my heart sank. Strayed too far? What did that mean? Before I could ponder further, the cat darted away, disappearing into a narrow passageway that I hadn't noticed before. A flicker of hesitation coursed through me. Should I follow? The whispers swelled, urging me onward, and I knew I had to uncover the truth behind this crypt. With a deep breath, I stepped into the passage. The air was colder here, the walls lined with rough stone that seemed to thrum with energy. The light from my phone flickered again, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls like specters. I could hear the whispers more distinctly now, swirling around me in a chaotic chorus. "Choose wisely," they echoed, sending a wave of unease through my chest. Each step felt heavier, as if the very ground was trying to pull me back, to warn me of the danger ahead. Yet, a part of me was enthralled, drawn deeper into the crypt's secrets. I rounded a corner and stumbled into a larger chamber. The cat was waiting there, sitting atop an altar that dominated the room. My heart raced as I took in the sight. The altar was surrounded by strange symbols, pulsating with a faint, otherworldly glow. What is this place? I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. The cat turned its head, fixing me with its unerringly wise gaze. In that moment, I felt a connection, a strange understanding that this was a threshold, a place where choices had power. I approached the altar, my breath hitching as I noticed a small, ornate box resting on top. Compelled by an unseen force, I reached out to open it. As my fingers brushed the cool surface, the whispers crescendoed, swirling around me like a tempest. Choose, they urged again, the word resonating in my mind. Choose your fate. I felt the weight of the box in my hands, its surface engraved with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse under my touch. My heart raced as I carefully lifted the lid, the hinges creaking like a warning. Inside lay a small, glimmering stone, its surface smooth and cool, reflecting the dim light in a way that made it seem almost alive. It was unlike anything I had ever seen, radiating a strange energy that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. As I picked it up, a shiver coursed through me, and the whispers intensified, wrapping around me like an icy breeze. Choose, 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 they echoed, urging me to understand the power of the stone. What kind of choice was I being asked to make? Suddenly, the cat jumped down from the altar and walked toward me, its tail flicking as if it were beckoning me to follow. It led me back through the passage, the stone clutched tightly in my palm. The shadows seemed to elongate, twisting around me as I walked, and the atmosphere thickened with a palpable tension. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, to escape the crypt and its oppressive aura. But the further I ventured into the darkness, the more I felt the allure of the unknown drawing me in. The echoes of my past decisions whispered in my ears, reminding me of moments I wished I could change. I emerged into the initial chamber where I had first encountered the tombstones. The air felt heavier now, saturated with a sense of urgency and foreboding. The cat sat poised atop the same stone where I had first seen my name, watching me intently. I approached the gravestones again, their inscriptions glowing faintly in the light of my phone. As I traced my fingers over the name carved into the stone, my name, something shifted within me. I could feel a connection to this place, a sense that my past was intricately woven into the fabric of the crypt. The other tombstones had transformed as well, the names and inscriptions now pulsed with a vivid energy, each resonating with my thoughts and choices. Choose your path, the whispers seemed to say, their tone urgent and demanding. I closed my eyes, trying to center myself amidst the chaos swirling around me. Memories flooded back, decisions made out of fear, moments of indecision that led to paths I regretted. With the stone still warm in my hand, I opened my eyes, ready to confront whatever lay before me. One tombstone caught my attention, its inscription now read, "Here lies the one who never took a chance." A chill raced down my spine as I realized this was a reflection of my life, a reminder of the risks I had shied away from. What does it mean? I whispered, my voice barely breaking the heavy silence. The cat shifted slightly, its gaze unwavering. I felt compelled to take a leap of faith. I stepped closer to the tombstone, the air crackling with energy as I held the stone aloft. The moment I made contact with the surface, the inscription changed again, morphing into something new. Here lies the one who dared to choose. In that instant, I felt a surge of power coursing through me, an overwhelming urge to make a choice that would redefine my fate. The whispers swelled, a cacophony of voices urging me on. I glanced around the crypt, heart racing as I faced the reality of my situation. The stone pulsated in my hand, urging me to speak, to declare my choice. I thought of the paths I had walked, the regrets that clung to me like shadows. I choose to embrace my fears, I declared, the words spilling from my lips. I choose to confront what lies ahead, no matter the cost. The moment the words left my mouth, the air shifted. A rush of wind swept through the crypt, extinguishing my phone's light. Darkness enveloped me completely, and I stumbled back, heart pounding. I could feel the whispers growing frantic, swirling around me in a tempest of sound and sensation. Suddenly, the crypt's walls began to shimmer, illuminated by an ethereal glow that emanated from the stone in my hand. The shadows twisted, forming shapes that danced and writhed before my eyes. I felt the weight of unseen eyes upon me, an awareness that sent shivers down my spine. "Your choice is made," the voices murmured, their tone shifting to something more profound. "But know this, every choice has its consequence." With that, the ground beneath me trembled, the tombstones vibrating with a resonance that echoed through the chamber. I clutched the stone tightly, fear and exhilaration coursing through me as the energy surged. Then, the shadows coalesced into a figure, tall and imposing. My breath caught as I recognized it, a twisted reflection of myself, a darker version that seemed to embody my doubts and fears. "Do you truly understand the weight of your choice?" the figure asked, its voice a low, echoing growl that resonated through my very core. I swallowed hard, determination rising within me. "I do. I choose to confront my fears, to face whatever lies ahead." The figure laughed, a sound filled with malice and amusement. "Very well, but know that you have opened a door that cannot be easily closed." In that moment, the crypt surged with energy, the whispers reaching a deafening crescendo. The shadows spiraled around me, and I felt myself being pulled deeper into the darkness, the very fabric of reality warping around me. I had made my choice, but what lay ahead? The crypt had transformed into something beyond comprehension, a realm of shadows and secrets that awaited my next move. As the shadows swirled around me, I felt as if I were being drawn into a different dimension, a realm where time lost its meaning and reality bent to the will of my fears. The figure, my twisted reflection, loomed closer, its face a distortion of my own. "You believe you can confront me?" it taunted, the voice echoing ominously in the darkness. "You are but a flicker of light in an expanse of shadow." "I'm not afraid of you," I shouted, the words spilling out with more conviction than I felt. My heart raced, caught between defiance and dread as I struggled against the grip of the shadows. But deep down, I sensed the truth. I was terrified. The figure smirked, its form flickering like a flame. "Ah, but fear is your greatest weakness," it hissed, stepping forward. "You spent your life running from it, and now you wish to confront it? How amusing." With each word, I felt the shadows tightening around me, threatening to pull me into their depths. Panic surged within me as I glanced around the crypt, searching for a way out, a light, anything to break this suffocating darkness. But there was nothing, only the oppressive weight of the figure's presence and the relentless whispers growing louder, a chaotic symphony of dread and despair. Then, in a moment of clarity, I remembered the stone in my hand. Its energy pulsed, and I focused on it, willing it to provide the strength I so desperately needed. I choose to face my fears, to embrace the darkness. I cried, raising the stone high above my head. "You have no power over me." The moment I declared my choice, the stone blazed with light, illuminating the chamber with a brilliant glow that pushed back the shadows. The figure recoiled, its distorted face twisting in anger. "No!" it screamed, the sound reverberating through the crypt. The whispers transformed, now a chorus of encouragement, lifting my spirits amidst the encroaching darkness. "Choose wisely. Choose your fate," they chanted, echoing the resolution I felt surging within me. I was no longer just a spectator in this crypt. I was a participant, wielding the power of my choices. The shadows writhed and hissed as I advanced toward the figure, emboldened by the light radiating from the stone. You are a manifestation of my fears, but you don't control me. I choose my path. As I stepped closer, the shadows began to dissipate, unraveling like threads of a frayed tapestry. The figure's form flickered, its features melting into the void as it desperately attempted to cling to its power. You cannot banish me. I am part of you, it screamed, but its voice grew weaker with every step I took. Perhaps, I replied, but I won't allow you to dictate my life any longer. With one final surge of will, I thrust the stone forward, its radiant light engulfing the figure entirely. The shadows screamed, a cacophony of fury and despair, before they were swallowed by the light. The crypt shuddered violently as the energy exploded outward, pushing back the darkness and flooding the chamber with warmth and clarity. For a moment, I stood in a sea of light, the whispers transforming into gentle reassurances. You have chosen wisely. You have taken the first step, they echoed, and I felt the weight of fear lifting from my shoulders, replaced by a profound sense of clarity and purpose. But as the light faded and the crypt returned to its stillness, I felt a lingering unease, an awareness that my journey was far from over. The air was thick with tension, and I could sense that something else awaited me. The remnants of the figure lingered, a reminder that while I had confronted one aspect of my fears, many more still lay hidden within the crypt's depths. I turned to the cat, which had remained a silent witness to the unfolding chaos. It approached me slowly, its green eyes shimmering with an otherworldly understanding. What now? I asked, my voice shaking with uncertainty. The cat tilted its head, and to my surprise, I sensed a shift in the atmosphere. The shadows that had once seemed threatening now appeared to dance playfully, swirling around the cat as if awaiting its command. There is more to uncover, it seemed to convey, urging me to venture further into the crypt's secrets. With newfound determination, I steeled myself for what lay ahead. Lead the way, I said, and the cat turned, guiding me through a narrow passage that branched off from the chamber. The path twisted and turned, the air growing cooler as we descended deeper into the crypt. My heart raced with both fear and excitement. What other truths lay hidden in this place? What more would I have to confront? As I walked, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was stepping into the unknown, into a realm where choices would once again shape my fate. The walls closed in around me, and I could feel the presence of the crypt itself, alive and watching, waiting for me to make the next decision. Suddenly, I stumbled into a larger room, the air heavy with anticipation. In the center stood a pedestal, upon which rested a large, ornate book. The cover was embossed with symbols similar to those on the tombstones, and I felt an electric thrill at the thought of the knowledge contained within. As I approached, the cat leaped onto the pedestal, sitting regally beside the book, its eyes locked onto mine. I reached out, fingers trembling as I touched the cool surface of the cover. The moment my skin made contact, the book sprang open, pages flipping wildly until it settled on a page marked by a single symbol that glowed faintly, a key. Choose wisely, the whispers echoed once more, this time more urgent, almost pleading. I glanced down at the page, heart pounding. The symbol seemed to pulse with a life of its own, beckoning me to uncover its secrets. I could sense the weight of decisions pressing upon me, each choice leading me deeper into the labyrinth of my own fears. Do I dare? I wondered aloud, glancing at the cat. It simply stared back, as if challenging me to take the leap. With a deep breath, I nodded. I choose to unlock the truth. The moment the words left my mouth, the symbols around the room flared to life, illuminating the chamber with an eerie glow. I felt a surge of energy course through me, and as the light enveloped me, I knew that whatever lay ahead would demand everything I had. As the room swirled with light, I felt as though I were being pulled into a whirlpool of energy. The glowing symbols on the pages danced before my eyes, weaving a tapestry of knowledge that felt both ancient and powerful. The air around me hummed with an electric charge, and I could sense the weight of countless choices stretching before me. My heart raced as I leaned closer, trying to decipher the text that shimmered on the page. It was written in a language I did not recognize, but somehow I felt an understanding seep into my mind. Words formed in my thoughts, translating themselves into concepts I could grasp: fear, choice, consequence. Choose wisely, the whispers echoed again, now carrying an ominous undertone, urging caution. I glanced back at the cat, its emerald eyes reflecting the light as it watched me intently. This was more than just a crypt, it was a repository of choices, a library of paths that branched out into the unknown. Tentatively, I reached out and touched the glowing symbol of the key with my fingertip. Instantly, the room trembled, and the book emitted a soft glow, resonating with the energy of my choice. The pages turned slowly, revealing vivid illustrations that seemed to come alive. Each image depicted a scenario, choices made, paths taken, each leading to a different fate. The first image showed a figure standing at a crossroad, one path leading into a sunlit forest, the other veering into a dark, ominous cave. The caption read, "Every choice leads to a new beginning." I felt a shiver run down my spine as the next image appeared. It depicted a woman standing alone on a cliff, her gaze fixed on the turbulent sea below. The caption here was stark and haunting: "What lies beneath the surface?" "What does it mean?" I whispered, almost to myself. The crypt felt alive with a presence that hung heavy in the air, urging me to absorb every detail. The illustrations continued to shift, showing scenes of joy and despair, hope and regret. Each image carried a weight, and I could feel the emotional resonance of every choice, the warmth of love, the chill of abandonment, the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Then, one illustration caught my attention more than the others. It depicted a graveyard, much like the one I had entered, with gravestones bearing familiar names, names of people I had loved and lost. The caption read, "The past is never truly buried, it waits for you to confront it." A wave of emotion surged through me, and I staggered back, breath hitching in my throat. Memories flashed before my eyes, lost friends, missed opportunities, the haunting shadows of guilt that lingered in my heart. I had spent years running from these memories, burying them beneath layers of denial. But here they were, laid bare before me, demanding acknowledgement. "Confront your past," the cat seemed to say silently, its gaze steady and unwavering. "Only then can you forge a new path." I swallowed hard, a lump forming in my throat. "But what if I'm not ready?" I whispered, the weight of doubt settling heavily on my chest. The book reacted to my hesitation, the pages flipping rapidly until they settled on a stark, empty page. In the center was a single line: "Will you face what haunts you?" The room went silent, the air thick with anticipation. I could feel the presence of the crypt pressing in on me, a living entity that awaited my response. The whispers had faded, replaced by a palpable tension that wrapped around me like a shroud. Taking a deep breath, I forced myself to meet the gaze of my own reflection in the book. "I will face it," I declared, my voice trembling yet resolute. "I choose to confront my past." As the words left my lips, the book responded with a brilliant flash, the symbols around the room igniting in a radiant glow. The illustrations swirled around me, morphing into a vortex of colors and images, each representing a moment I had either cherished or dreaded. The room began to spin, and I felt myself being pulled into the maelstrom. "What is happening?" I cried out, clutching the edge of the pedestal to steady myself. "Embrace it," the whispers roared, now a cacophony of voices urging me onward. "Face what you fear." With that, I was launched into a whirlwind of memories, each image vivid and intense, a snapshot of my past. I found myself standing in my childhood home, the familiar scent of my mother's cooking wafting through the air. Laughter echoed around me as I watched my younger self play with friends in the yard, carefree and innocent. But the scene shifted abruptly, the laughter fading into a hollow silence. I stood alone in the house, the walls closing and its shadows flickered at the edges of my vision. A heavy sense of loss filled the room, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. "Why did you leave me?" I whispered into the emptiness, the question hanging in the air, unanswered. Another image crashed into view, a memory of my best friend, a bright soul who had been taken too soon. I could see her face, hear her laughter, feel the warmth of our friendship. But then the memory twisted, and I was standing at her grave, tears streaming down my face. "I should have told you how much you meant to me," I sobbed, grief crashing over me like a wave. The crypt's atmosphere shifted, becoming heavier, almost oppressive. I felt the weight of unspoken words and unresolved feelings pressing down on me. Each memory was a fragment of my soul, demanding recognition, and I realized that to move forward, I had to confront these moments head-on. Suddenly, I was pulled into yet another scene, this time standing at the edge of a cliff, the same cliff from the earlier illustration. I felt the wind whipping through my hair as I gazed out over the turbulent sea. The waves crashed violently against the rocks below, each roar a reminder of the tumult within me. "Jump," a voice echoed, and I felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with fear. "Face the unknown." I hesitated, my heart racing as I peered into the abyss. The weight of every past decision loomed over me, and the call of the unknown beckoned tantalizingly. Could I truly take that leap? As I stood there, I felt the cat beside me, its presence grounding. "It's time," it seemed to convey. "You've confronted the past. Now, you must choose your future." With a surge of determination, I took a step forward, heart pounding, and leapt from the edge. Time stretched as I fell, the world blurring around me. I was free falling through my memories, through the choices that had led me here, the consequences swirling around me like a storm. And then, just as abruptly, I landed softly on the ground, surrounded by the warm light of the crypt. The energy shifted, the shadows retreating into the corners as the overwhelming presence of the past began to fade. I had faced my fears, embraced my memories, and chosen to confront what had haunted me for so long. The room was quiet now, filled with a sense of calm that washed over me like a cleansing rain. I felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted from my shoulders. The crypt, once a place of dread, now felt like a sanctuary, a space of transformation. But as I looked around, I knew my journey was far from over. I had taken the first steps toward reclaiming my life, but the choices I had made would continue to shape my path. The future loomed before me, uncertain and vast, and I was ready to explore its depths. I glanced at the cat, which had settled beside me, its eyes filled with an understanding that transcended words. "What now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The cat tilted its head, as if considering my question. I could feel the weight of the crypt around me, a lingering presence that seemed to pulse with potential. There were still more paths to explore, more decisions to make, and deeper truths to uncover. The stone in my hand warmed again, its energy resonating with the choices yet to come. I took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever awaited me in this mysterious realm. The warm glow of the crypt enveloped me, a stark contrast to the weighty shadows I had just conquered. My heart still raced, echoing the adrenaline of my leap into the unknown, but now a new sensation began to creep in, curiosity. What lay ahead? What further challenges awaited me in this labyrinth of fears and choices? The cat watched me with those emerald eyes, seeming to sense my shift in focus. It leaped gracefully off the pedestal and padded toward a darkened passageway that extended from the chamber. I felt an urge to follow, drawn to the promise of discovery, yet still aware of the lingering shadows that lurked just out of sight. "Lead the way," I murmured, my voice steadying as I prepared to delve deeper into the mysteries of this crypt. The cat turned, glancing back at me before slipping into the darkness, its movements fluid and assured. I took a deep breath and stepped forward, the energy of the crypt guiding me like a whisper in the wind. As I followed, the air grew cooler, tinged with the scent of damp earth and aged stone. The walls seemed to pulse with life, the faint glow of ethereal symbols illuminating our path. I felt a sense of being watched, as if the very stones held secrets waiting to be revealed. The passage opened into a vast chamber, unlike any I had encountered before. It was adorned with intricate carvings that spiraled up the walls, depicting scenes of life, death, and everything in between. My gaze traveled over the artistry, each image telling a story of human emotion, love, loss, joy, and despair, woven together in a tapestry of existence. In the center of the room stood a grand altar, its surface covered in a thick layer of dust, yet something glimmered faintly beneath. I approached cautiously, my fingers brushing against the cool stone. Atop the altar lay an array of objects, a small hourglass, a tarnished key, and a weathered book bound in leather. The hourglass caught my attention first. It was nearly empty, grains of sand trickling slowly from one chamber to the other, a reminder of the passage of time. I felt an inexplicable urge to turn it over, as if doing so might grant me a second chance, an opportunity to revisit the choices I had made. "Time is but an illusion," I whispered, recalling the illustrations from the book. Every moment counted, yet the weight of past decisions pressed heavily on my heart. Would turning the hourglass allow me to escape my past, or would it trap me in an endless loop of regret? The cat's presence shifted as I turned my gaze to the tarnished key, its surface reflecting the dim light. It looked old, almost ancient, and I could sense its significance. "What do you unlock?" I murmured, reaching out to grasp it. A faint warmth radiated from the metal, sending a shiver of anticipation coursing through me. The moment my fingers closed around the key, a sudden jolt of energy surged through the room. The carvings on the walls shimmered, and I could hear the whispers intensifying once more, weaving through the air like an incantation. "Unlock the truth," they urged, beckoning me to discover what lay hidden behind closed doors. I hesitated, glancing at the leather-bound book. It seemed to pulse with potential, and I could feel a connection between the three objects, a triangle of power waiting to be harnessed. Which would I choose? The hourglass represented time, the key signified access, and the book held knowledge. Each item was a facet of my journey, yet I knew I could only choose one. My heart raced as I contemplated the implications. "Choose wisely," I reminded myself, feeling the weight of my decision bearing down upon me. I closed my eyes, centering my thoughts. Time had already slipped through my fingers like grains of sand. Unlocking new knowledge felt crucial. I opened my eyes, resolve hardening. "I choose the book," I declared, the words echoing through the chamber like a spell. The moment I uttered it, the air crackled with energy, and the book leaped from the altar into my hands, settling heavily in my palms. The whispers crescendoed, wrapping around me like a warm embrace. "You have chosen to seek the truth. Prepare for the knowledge it brings," they chorused, their voices intertwining in a beautiful, haunting melody. As I opened the book, the pages fluttered to life, displaying intricate illustrations and text that shimmered with an ethereal glow. The first page revealed a map of the crypt, each section meticulously detailed, branching out into various chambers and passageways. My eyes widened as I traced the paths with my finger, feeling a magnetic pull toward the unexplored corners. At the bottom of the page, a caption read, "The journey begins where fear resides." Suddenly, the chamber around me shifted, the air vibrating with an unseen force. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter, and the room began to morph, the very fabric of reality bending to the whims of the book. I felt a rush of wind whip through the space, pulling me into its depths. "Embrace it," the whispers echoed again, now filled with a sense of urgency. I clutched the book tightly to my chest, determined to navigate whatever path awaited me. The world around me twisted and spiraled, and before I could grasp what was happening, I found myself standing in a new chamber. The air was thick with mist, swirling like a ghostly shroud. I was no longer in the crypt. I had been transported to a different realm, a place where shadows danced and the unknown beckoned. Before me stood a massive door, ancient and imposing, adorned with intricate carvings that mirrored those in the crypt. It loomed ominously, a sentinel guarding secrets that lay beyond. My heart raced as I approached, the weight of the book in my hands reminding me of the power I wielded. What lies behind this door? I wondered aloud, a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through me. The whispers urged me forward, their chorus now a steady heartbeat, pushing me to uncover the truth. I reached for the door, its surface cool beneath my fingertips. As I traced the carvings, they began to glow, illuminating the space with a warm, golden light. I could feel the energy pulsating through the door, and I knew that my choice was about to determine my fate once again. "Will you unlock the door to your truth?" the whispers asked, their tone both inviting and cautionary. "Yes," I breathed, determination flooding my veins. "I will face whatever lies beyond." With a deep breath, I pushed the door open, its hinges creaking as it revealed a new realm filled with shimmering lights and shadowy figures that danced just beyond my reach. The atmosphere was electric, charged with possibilities and fears alike. As I stepped through the threshold, I felt the weight of my past and the uncertainty of my future merge into a single moment of clarity. The whispers faded, replaced by a deafening silence that enveloped me, leaving me standing alone in a vast expanse of potential. The landscape before me shifted, vibrant colors blending seamlessly with shadows that writhed in the corners of my vision. I could feel the air crackling with energy, a reminder that every choice had led me to this pivotal moment. In that space, I sensed something watching me, an awareness lurking in the shadows, waiting for me to make my next move. "What awaits me here?" I asked the empty air, but the only response was the soft rustling of leaves in the distance, a gentle reminder of the journey that lay ahead. The path before me branched into multiple directions, each one representing a choice I could make. Which path will lead me to the truth? I wondered aloud, my heart pounding with anticipation. As I considered my options, I remembered the key, the hourglass, and the book, the triangle of choices that had guided me thus far. I could feel their presence, urging me to trust my instincts. With determination surging within me, I took my first step into the unknown, ready to face the fears that awaited me and the truths that would shape my destiny. As I stepped further into the shimmering landscape, a strange sense of anticipation filled the air. Each step echoed with the weight of possibility, reverberating through the stillness that enveloped me. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, teasing the edges of my consciousness. I felt a pull toward the unknown, a gravitational force urging me to explore the uncharted territory ahead. The path before me forked into three distinct trails, each veiled in mystery. To my left, a narrow corridor wound its way through dense, ethereal fog, the air heavy with whispers that felt both inviting and foreboding. The center path shimmered with golden light, enticing me with a promise of warmth and safety. To my right lay a jagged trail, cloaked in darkness, where the shadows whispered secrets that sent chills racing down my spine. I paused, the enormity of the moment settling over me like a thick fog. The choices I had made led me here, and now I stood on the brink of yet another decision. The whispers of the crypt echoed in my mind, urging me to choose wisely. What do I seek? I asked myself, the question hanging in the air like a fragile breath. The corridor to the left seemed to beckon with an air of familiarity. It was as if it called to my innermost fears, daring me to confront them. But the path in the center shone with an allure of comfort, a place where I could escape the haunting echoes of my past. The jagged trail, however, felt like a dark abyss, a place where secrets lay hidden beneath layers of fear and uncertainty. Which path represents my truth? I pondered aloud, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on me. I closed my eyes, envisioning the illustrations from the book, the crossroads, the cliff, the graveyard. Each moment, each choice had led me to this precise moment in time. Taking a deep breath, I turned to the left, the fog swirling around me as I stepped into the corridor. As I ventured deeper, the air thickened with the scent of damp earth and decay. The whispers grew louder, morphing into a haunting symphony that filled the air with tension. Face what haunts you, they seemed to chant, their voices intertwining in a mesmerizing dance. With each step, the darkness closed in around me, the fog shifting and swirling as if alive. Memories flashed through my mind, moments of vulnerability, pain, and regret. I could feel the shadows reaching for me, grasping at my essence, but I pressed on, determined to confront whatever lay within. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a vast chamber, and I stumbled to a halt, taking in my surroundings. The walls were lined with mirrors, each one reflecting not just my image, but fragments of my past, lost opportunities, broken relationships, and the haunting specter of loneliness. "Who are you?" I murmured, my voice trembling as I approached one of the mirrors. My reflection stared back at me, but it was not just my face I saw. Each mirror displayed a different version of myself, capturing the many choices I had made over the years, the carefree child, the adventurous teen, the heartbroken adult. Each reflection seemed to vibrate with its own story, a testament to the paths I had traveled. As I reached out to touch one of the mirrors, a surge of energy coursed through me, and a memory washed over me like a tidal wave. I was standing in my childhood bedroom, the walls plastered with posters of dreams yet to be realized. I could hear laughter, my laughter, filling the room with a sense of innocence. But then, darkness crept in, the laughter fading into the background as shadows emerged, representing the doubts and fears that had begun to shape my life. "Why did you let them win?" the reflection in the mirror asked, its voice laced with disappointment. I recoiled, the accusation stinging. "I tried," I whispered, tears prickling at the corners of my eyes. "I did my best." The mirror shifted, revealing another memory, standing at the edge of a cliff, the same cliff I had seen in the illustrations. I was with my best friend, our laughter echoing against the crashing waves below. "We can do anything," she had said, her eyes filled with hope. But that hope had been extinguished far too soon. "Why didn't I tell you how much you meant to me?" I sobbed, feeling the weight of regret press down on me like a heavy stone. The shadows in the mirror twisted, reflecting my anguish, and I realized that these reflections were more than mere images. They were manifestations of my pain, my unresolved feelings, and the choices I had made. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, the mirrors cracking like fragile glass as the whispers intensified, urging me to confront my fears. "You cannot run from what you are," they chanted, the chorus rising in intensity. "Face it," I shouted, my voice echoing against the walls. "I will not be defined by my past." The room erupted in chaos, the mirrors shattering into 1,000 pieces. Shards of glass scattered across the floor, glinting in the faint light like stars in the night sky. I stood amidst the wreckage, heart pounding, but a newfound strength surged within me. Each shard represents a choice, I realized, the truth dawning on me like the first rays of dawn. Every broken piece is a chance for renewal. As the last echoes of the whispers faded, I turned away from the chaos and walked deeper into the chamber. I could feel the weight of my past lifting, each step shedding the burdens I had carried for far too long. The path ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope. Before me, a new door appeared, intricately carved and emanating a warm glow that contrasted sharply with the shadows that still lingered in the corners. I approached cautiously, feeling the energy radiating from it. What lies beyond this door? I wondered aloud, the anticipation mingling with a tinge of fear. As I reached for the handle, I paused, glancing back at the remnants of the shattered mirrors. "I will carry these lessons with me," I promised, feeling a sense of closure wash over me. The past had shaped me, but it would no longer define my future. With a deep breath, I turned the handle and pushed the door open, stepping into a world that promised new beginnings. As the door creaked open, a soft light flooded my senses, spilling into the dim chamber where I had just confronted the shards of my past. I blinked against the brilliance, my heart racing with a mix of trepidation and hope. The air was alive with energy, almost palpable, and I stepped forward, feeling an invisible force urging me onward. I found myself in a vibrant garden, unlike any I had ever seen. Blossoms of every hue cascaded around me, their colors so vivid they appeared almost otherworldly. Trees stretched high into the sky, their leaves shimmering like emeralds in the sunlight. A gentle breeze carried the sweet scent of flowers, wrapping around me like a comforting embrace. This was not just a garden, it felt like a sanctuary, a haven carved out from the chaos of the crypt. But beneath the beauty lay an undercurrent of unease. The tranquility felt too perfect, almost artificial. As I stepped further into the garden, I noticed shadows lurking at the edges, watching me with a keen intensity. I could feel their eyes upon me, heavy with scrutiny. "What are you hiding?" I whispered, but the only response was the rustling of leaves and the distant chirping of birds. In the center of the garden stood an ancient oak tree, its trunk gnarled and twisted, roots sprawling like fingers into the earth. It radiated wisdom, and I felt drawn to it. As I approached, I noticed carvings etched into its bark, symbols and runes that mirrored those I had seen in the crypt. Each symbol seemed to pulse with a life of its own, and I reached out to touch one. The moment my fingers grazed the rough surface, a surge of energy coursed through me. Images flooded my mind, visions of lives lived, choices made, and the ripple effects of those decisions. I gasped, overwhelmed by the intensity of the experience. It was as if the tree was revealing the interconnectedness of all things, the way our actions shaped not only our destinies, but the destinies of others. "Who are you?" I whispered, feeling a connection to the ancient being before me. "What do you know of my journey?" The wind picked up, rustling the leaves above. I closed my eyes, allowing myself to sink deeper into the moment, and then, in that stillness, a voice resonated within me, as if the tree itself was speaking. "You seek truth," it intoned, its voice deep and resonant. "But truth comes with a price. To uncover it, You must confront not only your fears, but the shadows of those who came before you. What do you mean? I asked, my heart racing at the thought of more challenges ahead. Every choice creates a path, the voice continued, and those paths are intertwined. Your journey has merely begun, and the threads of fate are woven together in ways you cannot yet perceive. You must seek the knowledge of the past to navigate the future. As the voice faded, I felt a shift in the atmosphere, the garden growing darker as shadows crept closer. I am ready, I declared, my voice steady, though I could feel the uncertainties swirling around me. I will confront whatever lies ahead. With newfound determination, I stepped away from the oak tree, scanning the garden for clues to guide me. The shadows were encroaching, their forms twisting and shifting like smoke. I could hear the whispers again, though now they felt more distinct, voices of those who had traversed this realm before me. Find the heart of the garden, they urged, their tones laced with urgency. Unlock the door that holds the truth of your existence. My gaze fell upon a small path veiled in vines and blossoms, leading deeper into the garden. I could see a faint glow pulsating at its end, a beacon in the growing darkness. The heart, I breathed, my instincts guiding me as I began to follow the trail. As I navigated through the lush greenery, the flowers seemed to sway and bow, almost as if encouraging my passage. But as I drew closer to the glow, the shadows multiplied, whispering haunting words that sent chills racing down my spine. You cannot escape, they echoed, their voices rising like a chorus of despair. I quickened my pace, determined to reach the source of the light. The path twisted and turned, the vibrant colors of the flowers fading into muted tones as I neared the glow. The once comforting atmosphere now felt charged with tension, the weight of the shadows pressing in from all sides. Finally, I emerged into a small clearing where the light radiated from a massive stone pedestal in the center. On the pedestal rested an ornate box, intricately carved and adorned with symbols that mirrored those on the oak tree. The light pulsed rhythmically, and I could feel its warmth radiating through the air. Open it, the whispers urged, but a sense of foreboding tugged at my mind. What lies within? I wondered aloud, approaching the pedestal with cautious reverence. As I reached out to lift the lid, a sudden chill swept through the clearing, and the shadows converged around me, blocking my escape. Do not open the box, they hissed, their voices weaving together in a cacophony of fear. You cannot comprehend the truth it holds. Why not? I demanded, my pulse quickening. I must know. Some truths are better left buried, they warned, their forms coiling like serpents. But the pull of the box was irresistible. I could feel its energy resonating with the very core of my being, compelling me to uncover its secrets. With trembling hands, I lifted the lid, the hinges creaking as if protesting the revelation that was about to unfold. Inside, the box glimmered with an array of objects, crystalline stones that sparkled like stars, a tarnished locket, and an ancient scroll rolled tightly, secured with a faded ribbon. I carefully removed the scroll, unfurling it with bated breath. As the parchment unrolled, I was met with a swirling script, each letter dancing before my eyes. The words seemed to pulse with life, weaving a narrative that spoke of ancient knowledge and untold power. The path you tread is fraught with danger, it read, but within lies the key to your destiny. What does that mean? I asked, my heart racing as the shadows loomed ever closer. Suddenly, the scroll glowed brighter, illuminating the clearing and forcing the shadows to retreat momentarily. The words transformed before my eyes, shifting to form an intricate map, a depiction of the garden, the crypt, and countless paths branching out in all directions. Follow the path of the heart, the script instructed, a sense of urgency creeping into its tone. Embrace the choices that shape you, for they will lead you to the truth you seek. But beware, every choice comes with a consequence. As the last word faded, I felt the energy of the garden shift again. The shadows recoiled, whispering in dismay. "You cannot change your fate," they hissed, their voices filled with an eerie despair. "But I can choose how I face it," I countered, clutching the scroll tightly. I turned my gaze back to the heart of the garden, the path branching out before me, shimmering with the promise of knowledge and danger alike. "Which path will I choose?" I whispered, feeling the weight of the moment settle heavily on my shoulders. "How will I confront the truth?" The shadows writhed at my feet, the echoes of past choices resonating through the air. I took a deep breath, centering myself, the words of the scroll reverberating in my mind. "Embrace the choices that shape you." With renewed determination, I stepped away from the pedestal, ready to navigate the intricate web of paths before me. The heart of the garden pulsed with energy, beckoning me to uncover the mysteries that lay ahead. As I ventured forth, I could feel the shadows retreating, their whispers fading into the distance. Each step resonated with purpose, the map guiding my journey toward the truth I had long sought. The garden was no longer just a sanctuary, it had transformed into a battleground, a place where I would confront my fears, unearth hidden knowledge, and ultimately discover the power that lay within. As I ventured deeper into the heart of the garden, a surreal stillness enveloped me. The vibrant colors of the flowers pulsated gently, casting enchanting shadows that flickered at the edges of my vision. The map clutched tightly in my hand felt like an anchor, grounding me amidst the swirling uncertainties. Each step was a commitment to unravel the mystery of my existence and to confront the shadows that lurked within. I chose to follow the path that branched to the right, where the flowers leaned inwards, their petals whispering secrets only they seemed to know. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine and damp earth, and as I walked, the sound of my footsteps felt like a heartbeat echoing through the quiet of the garden. It was a stark contrast to the chaos I had just escaped. Here, the serenity was almost too peaceful, a deceptive calm that set my nerves on edge. As I moved further along the path, I began to notice changes in the environment. The ground beneath my feet felt softer, almost as if it were alive, breathing in sync with my movements. The vibrant colors of the flowers faded gradually, replaced by darker hues that hinted at something hidden, something unsettling. The air grew heavy, suffused with an energy that prickled at my skin, urging me to be vigilant. Suddenly, the path opened up into a circular clearing, at the center of which stood an elaborate fountain. The water flowed gracefully, cascading over intricately carved stones that depicted scenes from what looked like my life, moments of joy, sorrow, triumph, and despair. I could see images of my childhood, the smiles of friends long gone, and moments of solitude that echoed deep within me. I approached the fountain, captivated by the play of water and light. As I peered into the shimmering surface, the reflections shifted, revealing not just my image but the faces of those I had lost and loved. The realization washed over me. The garden was a mirror, reflecting not just my existence but the interconnectedness of everyone I had ever known. "Why are you here?" a voice emerged from the shadows, breaking the spell that had gripped me. I spun around, my heart racing, and found myself face to face with a figure cloaked in a flowing robe, their features obscured by the hood. "What do you seek in this place?" "I seek the truth," I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. "I need to understand my journey, the choices I've made." "The truth is not always what you expect," the figure warned, stepping closer. Their presence radiated an aura of wisdom mixed with melancholy. "You stand at the crossroads of your existence, but every path you take holds consequences, some light, some dark." "Then let me face them," I insisted, clenching the scroll tightly in my hand. I cannot run from my past any longer. The figure regarded me with a penetrating gaze. Very well, they said, a hint of approval flickering in their voice. But know this, to uncover the truth, you must immerse yourself in the waters of memory. With that, the figure gestured towards the fountain. I hesitated, apprehension gnawing at my insides. What will happen if I do? You will confront your memories, both the beautiful and the painful. Only through acceptance can you find clarity, they replied, their voice softening. But beware, the waters do not forget, and neither should you. Taking a deep breath, I stepped closer to the fountain, its surface glimmering like a portal to another realm. The soothing sound of the flowing water seemed to call out to me, a siren's song promising revelations buried beneath layers of regret. I knelt by the edge, allowing my fingers to dip into the cool, clear water. The moment my skin met the surface, the fountain erupted into a brilliant cascade of light, enveloping me in a warm glow. I felt the world around me dissolve, and before I knew it, I was plunged into a swirling vortex of memories, my senses overwhelmed by the rush of images and emotions. I was back in my childhood home, standing in the living room where sunlight streamed through the curtains. My mother was there, laughing as she twirled me around, her joy radiating like the sun itself. I felt the warmth of her love envelop me, but just as quickly, the scene shifted. Suddenly, I was standing alone in my room, the walls bare, the air thick with loneliness. I could hear echoes of laughter fading away, replaced by the harsh whispers of self-doubt. You'll never be enough, a voice taunted, chilling my heart. Why can't you just be like everyone else? The scenes morphed rapidly, each memory flickering before me like a flame. I was now a teenager, standing on the edge of the cliff I had seen in the illustrations, my heart racing with the thrill of life yet overshadowed by the weight of expectations. My friend stood beside me, urging me to take a leap of faith. We can do anything, she had said, her eyes sparkling with unrestrained hope. But the moment was shattered as I saw her turn away, the light in her eyes dimming. You don't understand, she said, her voice tinged with disappointment. You'll never be free. I staggered back, the emotions crashing over me like a relentless tide. No! I won't let you take this away. I screamed, feeling the weight of despair clinging to my throat. I could feel the presence of the shadows, creeping closer, their whispers echoing in my ears. You are not worthy, they hissed, drowning out my cries. But just as the darkness threatened to consume me, a brilliant light surged forth, illuminating the memories around me. I focused on the warmth, embracing the love and joy that had been intertwined with the pain. I am not defined by my past, I declared, the words resonating within me. I choose to honor my journey, not hide from it. The memories shifted again, revealing moments of strength, small victories that had shaped my identity. I saw myself standing tall, facing challenges head-on, finding solace in the laughter of friends, and embracing the beauty of connection. Each recollection shone like a beacon, a testament to my resilience. As the memories swirled around me, the darkness began to dissipate, revealing the beauty in the chaos. I felt the energy of the garden pulse around me, harmonizing with my own heartbeat. I am enough, I whispered, tears streaming down my cheeks, a release of everything I had held inside for so long. Suddenly, I found myself back at the fountain, gasping for breath. The figure stood beside me, their expression one of approval. You have faced the waters of memory and emerged stronger. The truth you sought lies within acceptance and understanding of your journey. I understand now, I replied, my voice steady. I cannot erase my past, but I can choose how it shapes me. I am the sum of all my experiences, and I will embrace them. Then your path forward will be illuminated, the figure said, their form shimmering with an ethereal light. But remember, the shadows may always linger. It is your choice how to navigate them. I nodded, a newfound sense of purpose igniting within me. The garden was no longer just a place of refuge, it was a space of transformation, where I would uncover the depths of my existence and confront the shadows that sought to define me. With the scroll still clutched tightly in my hand, I turned back toward the paths that branched out from the fountain. Each choice lay before me, shimmering with potential and challenge alike. I will follow the map, I declared, the weight of my journey settling into place. Guide me, I whispered to the garden, and as if in response, a gentle breeze caressed my skin, urging me onward. With every step, I felt the echoes of my past fade into the background, making way for the possibilities that lay ahead. As I prepared to follow the path laid out before me, a sense of clarity enveloped me, calming the tumult of emotions that had surged through me in the fountain's embrace. Each choice before me glimmered like stars in a darkened sky, beckoning me to explore the depths of their potential. The air crackled with possibility, and I felt a new strength surging through my veins, a determination to confront whatever lay ahead. I chose a path to my left, a narrow trail lined with flowering vines that swayed gently, as if inviting me into their world. The scent of blooming lilacs filled the air, their fragrance sweet and intoxicating, washing over me like a warm blanket. As I walked, the light dimmed, casting elongated shadows that danced eerily along the ground. I could hear the soft rustling of leaves, whispering secrets just out of reach, urging me to listen closely. As I ventured further along the path, I came upon a small clearing bathed in a soft, golden light. At its center stood a statue of a woman, her features delicately carved from marble, her expression serene yet mysterious. She held an orb in her hands, its surface shimmering with an iridescent glow. I approached cautiously, captivated by the intricate details of the statue, the delicate folds of her dress, the gentle curve of her lips, and the way her eyes seemed to follow me, filled with a wisdom that transcended time. I reached out to touch the orb, and the moment my fingers brushed its surface, I was flooded with visions, images of the past, present, and future. They swirled around me, forming a tapestry of moments, each thread representing a choice, a path not taken, a chance lost. I gasped, stumbling back as the intensity of the experience washed over me. The woman's voice echoed in my mind, soothing yet powerful. "You hold the power to shape your destiny," she said, her voice like a gentle breeze. "But you must choose wisely, for every action ripples through time." "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart racing. "How can I know which choice is right?" "The heart knows," she replied, her gaze penetrating. "Listen to it, and it will guide you through the shadows of doubt and fear." I took a deep breath, grounding myself in the moment. The visions continued to swirl, revealing paths that diverged and converged, branching out into an intricate web of possibilities. I could see glimpses of the life I had lived, the choices that had led me to this moment, moments of joy mingled with those of despair, hope intertwined with regret. Suddenly, the scene shifted to a moment I had long buried deep within me, the night of the accident that had changed everything. I stood on the precipice of the cliff, the moonlight shimmering on the surface of the water below. I could hear laughter in the distance, the sound of my friends gathered around a fire, carefree and alive. But then, as I focused, the laughter morphed into shouts of panic. I saw myself standing on the edge, a decision to leap or to hold back. "I can do this," I whispered, the memory washing over me with a wave of emotion. "I won't let fear hold me captive." But the shadows emerged again, twisting around me, their voices a chorus of despair. "You made the wrong choice. You lost them. It's your fault. No, I shouted, fighting back the rising tide of guilt. I did the best I could. I cannot change the past, but I can learn from it. As I proclaimed my truth, the orb in the statue's hands began to glow brighter, illuminating the clearing with a warm, golden light. The shadows receded, their whispers fading into silence as the energy enveloped me in a cocoon of protection. Remember this moment, the woman said, her voice a gentle reminder. Embrace the lessons learned from your choices, for they will empower you as you move forward. I nodded, determination solidifying within me. I will not forget, I promised, allowing the warmth of the light to fill me with courage. I turned back to the path, the orb's glow still illuminating the way ahead. As I stepped away from the statue, I felt the weight of the orb's wisdom settle in my heart. The path before me stretched onward, each step resonating with purpose. The shadows lingered at the edges, but I refused to let them define my journey. I was more than my past. I was a tapestry of experiences woven together, each thread a testament to my resilience. Continuing along the winding trail, I sensed a shift in the atmosphere. The vibrant flowers began to wilt, their colors fading into muted shades of gray. The air grew heavy, suffused with a palpable tension that sent a shiver down my spine. I glanced back at the statue one last time, the woman's serene expression anchoring me amidst the growing unease. Ahead, I noticed another clearing, darker and more foreboding than the last. A massive stone archway loomed before me, its surface covered in intricate carvings that depicted figures locked in eternal struggle. The air crackled with an unsettling energy, and I hesitated at the threshold, a deep instinct warning me to proceed with caution. Do I really want to enter? I pondered aloud, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on me. The archway stood like a portal to another realm, and I could feel the shadows swirling behind me, their whispers coaxing me to turn back. But the call of the unknown was irresistible. I took a deep breath and stepped through the archway, crossing the threshold into a realm shrouded in twilight. The air was thick with an otherworldly presence, and the path before me twisted and turned, leading into the depths of a labyrinthine maze. The walls of the maze were lined with mirrors, reflecting not only my image but also distorted versions of myself, versions that embody my fears, insecurities, and regrets. I could see my reflection falter, the shadows creeping closer, wrapping around me like chains, threatening to pull me into their depths. No! I cried out, forcing myself to step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. You will not control me. With each step, I could hear the whispers echoing around me, growing louder, more insistent. You will never escape. You are trapped in your own mind. But I pushed through the haze, focusing on the light that flickered at the far end of the maze, a beacon guiding me through the darkness. I will find a way out, I declared, determination flooding my veins. I will face my fears, and I will not back down. As I navigated the twisting passages, I encountered more mirrors, each reflecting a moment that had shaped me. I saw myself at a crossroads, standing before choices that could alter the course of my life. Choose wisely, the echoes warned, the shadows swirling around me. But this time, I felt empowered. I will choose my path, I asserted, my voice strong and unwavering. I will no longer let fear dictate my decisions. With each step, I embraced the truth of my journey, letting the light guide me through the maze. The reflections began to shift, transforming from distorted images into a clear representation of who I was, strength and vulnerability intertwined. I could see the choices I had made, the moments of growth and understanding. Finally, I reached the end of the maze, where the light blazed brighter than ever. In its warmth, I felt a sense of liberation, as if the shadows had lost their grip on me. I stepped through the final archway, emerging into an open field bathed in golden sunlight. Before me lay a vast landscape of possibilities, mountains rising in the distance, rivers flowing with clarity, and skies painted with hues of endless blue. The air felt fresh, invigorating, and I took a moment to breathe deeply, soaking in the beauty that surrounded me. "I am ready," I whispered, filled with a sense of purpose. The shadows may linger, but I was no longer afraid. The journey ahead held promise and challenges, but I was prepared to embrace them. As I stood there, the scroll unfurled in my hands, revealing new paths branching out before me. I could feel the energy of the garden pulsating through the air, urging me onward. Where will my choices take me next? I wondered, excitement bubbling within me. With the sun shining brightly overhead, I took my first step into the future, ready to uncover the secrets that awaited me in the depths of the garden. The landscape stretched out before me, a vibrant tapestry of colors and textures that seemed to beckon me closer. The air was filled with the sweet scent of wildflowers and fresh grass, each breath invigorating my spirit. I felt as if I had crossed a threshold not just into a new realm, but into a version of myself that I had long been searching for. The light was warm and welcoming, a stark contrast to the shadows that had haunted me in the maze. As I took my first steps into this open field, I could see the paths branching out in various directions, some winding into dense forests, others leading towards the majestic mountains, and still others that vanished into shimmering waters. Each path held its own promise, its own adventures waiting to unfold. Feeling a pull towards the mountains, I made my way toward the towering peaks that loomed in the distance, their majestic forms dusted with snow that glimmered like diamonds under the sunlight. The journey to the mountains felt right. There was a sense of purpose that stirred within me. I had always been drawn to heights, where the air was crisp and the view stretched endlessly. As I walked, I began to notice the wildlife surrounding me. A family of deer grazed peacefully nearby, their ears perked up, watching me with curious eyes. I paused to admire them, feeling a kinship with these gentle creatures. They were unafraid, embodying a freedom that resonated with the new path I was forging. I smiled, allowing their tranquility to soothe my racing heart. Further along the path, I encountered a bubbling brook, its crystal clear waters flowing over smooth stones. I knelt beside it, cupping my hands to drink. The water was cool and refreshing, revitalizing my spirit. I marveled at the way sunlight danced upon the surface, casting shimmering reflections that flickered like stars in a twilight sky. As I stood to continue my journey, I noticed something glimmering in the water, a small, ornate key nestled among the stones. Intrigued, I bent down to retrieve it, its metal cool against my skin. The key was intricately designed, adorned with swirling patterns that seemed to pulse with energy. A sense of significance washed over me. This key could unlock something profound, perhaps even more truths hidden within the garden. I tucked the key safely into my pocket, a tangible reminder of my journey thus far. As I resumed my walk, the path gradually steepened, leading me toward the mountains. The air grew cooler, the scent of pine filling my lungs. I felt invigorated, each step a testament to my determination to embrace my past while stepping boldly into my future. When I finally reached the foothills, I paused to take in the breathtaking view. Below me, the landscape sprawled out like a living canvas, lush valleys, vibrant patches of color from blooming flowers, and the river winding through it all like a silver ribbon. The beauty was overwhelming, a reminder of the resilience of life amidst the shadows. Yet, as I stood there, a subtle change rippled through the air. The wind picked up, swirling around me, carrying whispers that felt both familiar and foreign. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see a figure emerging from the shadows, but there was only the stillness of the mountains behind me. Why do I feel like I'm being watched? I wondered aloud, an unsettling sensation creeping up my spine. I shook off the feeling, reminding myself of the strength I had found in the garden. I was not alone. The memories and experiences I carried with me would guide me through whatever challenges lay ahead. Determined to push forward, I began to climb the rocky terrain, my fingers gripping the rough surface for support. The ascent was steep and challenging, but with each step, I felt the weight of my past loosening its grip on me. I was not just climbing a mountain, I was reclaiming my strength, my voice, and my place in the world. After what felt like hours, I finally reached a plateau. It was a small, flat area surrounded by towering cliffs, and in its center stood an ancient stone altar, withered by time. Intrigued, I approached it, the key in my pocket feeling heavier with significance. The altar was adorned with carvings similar to those on the key, the swirling patterns telling a story that echoed in my mind. Kneeling beside the altar, I traced the carvings with my fingers, feeling a surge of energy flow through me. "What is this place?" I whispered, as if the stones could answer me. The air felt electric, charged with a sense of ancient power that reverberated through my bones. In that moment, I understood that this altar was a focal point for the energies that pulsed through the garden. It was a place of connection, a bridge between the past and the future. I could feel the weight of the memories I had uncovered, each choice, each moment of fear and triumph, culminating in this very spot. With a sense of purpose, I took the ornate key from my pocket and held it above the altar. The moment it touched the stone, a brilliant light erupted, illuminating the surrounding area with a warm, golden glow. The carvings on the altar began to shimmer and shift, revealing new images, visions of my life unfolding, the choices I had made, and the paths I had taken. Suddenly, I was pulled into a vision, standing at the edge of the cliff again, but this time I felt different. The echoes of laughter reached my ears, and I turned to see my friends gathering around a fire, their faces radiant with joy. I could feel the warmth of their camaraderie enveloping me, filling the void I had carried for so long. But then, the vision shifted once more, showing me a different outcome, one where I had chosen to leap. I saw myself soaring through the air, a moment of freedom that transformed into a sense of exhilaration and empowerment. I landed gracefully, the thrill of life coursing through my veins. "Choose your destiny," a voice echoed in my mind, clearer than before. "You have the power to rewrite your story." I focused on the light, feeling its energy pulse through me. "I am ready to embrace my truth," I declared, the words spilling forth from my heart. "I will not let fear dictate my choices any longer." With that, the light intensified, enveloping me in warmth and clarity. I felt the weight of the past shift, lifting like a fog as I embraced the possibilities that lay ahead. I was no longer the person defined by loss or regret. I was a tapestry woven with resilience and strength, ready to face whatever challenges awaited me in the garden. As the light subsided, I found myself back at the altar, my heart racing with newfound determination. The swirling patterns on the altar glowed softly, a promise of guidance as I continued my journey. I tucked the key back into my pocket, feeling its weight as a reminder of the power I held within me. "Let's see where this path leads," I said aloud, my voice steady and resolute. I turned away from the altar, ready to embrace the adventures that awaited me. The mountains towered above, their peaks shimmering against the sky, and I felt a sense of purpose guide my steps. With each stride, I ventured deeper into the unknown, my heart open to the possibilities. The garden was alive with whispers of the past and echoes of the future, and I was ready to uncover the secrets that lay hidden among the shadows. The mountains loomed ahead, their majestic peaks brushing against the heavens, while a soft breeze danced through the grassy fields around me. My footsteps felt lighter, as if the weight of uncertainty had lifted, leaving behind a renewed sense of purpose. The ornate key nestled in my pocket pulsed gently with each step, a constant reminder of the power I had embraced. As I ventured further into the mountains, the landscape began to shift. The lush greenery gradually gave way to rocky outcrops and rugged cliffs. The air grew crisper, filled with the invigorating scent of pine. I relished the solitude, the quiet that enveloped me, punctuated only by the distant call of a hawk soaring overhead. The path twisted and turned, climbing higher as I navigated the rugged terrain. I stopped to catch my breath and admired the breathtaking view that unfolded below. The valleys sprawled out like a patchwork quilt, dotted with wildflowers in vibrant hues of yellow, purple, and blue. A winding river snaked its way through the landscape, glistening like a silver ribbon under the afternoon sun. As I stood there, taking it all in, I felt a shift in the air, a sudden chill that cut through the warmth of the sun. Goosebumps prickled along my skin, and an unsettling sensation crept back into my consciousness. I glanced around, instinctively searching for the source of the disturbance. In the distance, I noticed dark clouds forming over the mountains, swirling ominously. It felt as though they were converging, threatening to engulf the serenity of my surroundings. The peaceful sounds of nature faded, replaced by a low rumble that echoed through the air, sending a shiver down my spine. Maybe it's just a storm, I muttered to myself, trying to dismiss the unease that gnawed at me. But deep down, I knew it was more than just weather. The shadows had not entirely released their grip on my mind, lingering just at the edges of my awareness. Pushing aside my apprehension, I continued along the trail, the rocky path crunching underfoot. With each step, I reminded myself of the choices I had made, the strength I had discovered in the garden. I was determined to move forward, to confront whatever lay ahead with courage and resolve. As I climbed higher, the terrain became more treacherous, the rocks jutting out at awkward angles. I focused on my footing, careful not to lose my balance. The path narrowed, and I had to navigate a series of steep inclines and sharp turns. I could hear the wind howling above, its voice rising in intensity as it whipped around the cliffs, filling the air with an eerie resonance. Just when I thought I could ignore the growing darkness, I caught a glimpse of something shimmering on the path ahead. I squinted against the sunlight, trying to discern what it was. As I drew closer, I realized it was another key, glinting in the light, half buried beneath a pile of stones. Curiosity piqued, I reached down to pick it up, brushing the dirt from its surface. This key was unlike the first. It was larger, forged from a different metal, and engraved with intricate symbols that I couldn't decipher. As I held it in my hand, I felt an undeniable energy coursing through me, igniting a spark of intuition. This must mean something, I thought, a thrill of anticipation surging through my veins. Perhaps it's another piece of the puzzle. I tucked the key securely into my pocket alongside the first, its weight a reassuring reminder of my journey. Continuing along the path, I could feel the atmosphere shifting again. The wind howled more fiercely, and the sky grew darker, clouds swirling overhead like a tempest brewing. My heart raced as I sensed the presence of something ancient and powerful lurking in the shadows. Stay focused, I whispered to myself, my voice barely audible over the howling wind. You've come too far to turn back now. Suddenly, the ground beneath me trembled, a deep rumble resonating from the heart of the mountain. I stumbled, struggling to maintain my balance as loose stones cascaded down the slope. Panic surged within me, urging me to flee, but a deeper instinct held me in place. Face it, I urged myself, summoning every ounce of courage I possessed. You have the strength to confront whatever is coming. Just then, a shadow flitted across the path ahead, a figure cloaked in darkness, moving with ethereal grace. My breath caught in my throat as I squinted to see more clearly. The figure paused, its features obscured by the swirling mist, but I could sense an ancient wisdom emanating from it. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice trembling. "What do you want?" The figure stepped closer, revealing a face that seemed both familiar and foreign. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, a blend of colors that shifted like liquid crystals. "I am a keeper of the secrets that lie within these mountains," the figure spoke, its voice resonating like a distant echo. "You have come seeking answers, but be warned, the journey ahead will test your resolve." "Test my resolve?" I echoed, my heart racing. "I have faced my past. I am ready for whatever lies ahead." The figure nodded, a flicker of approval in its luminous eyes. "Then you shall have the opportunity to prove it. But remember, every choice carries weight. The keys you hold are not merely tools, they are symbols of your decisions, and they will unlock the doors to your future." I nodded, the gravity of its words sinking in. I felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The prospect of uncovering hidden truths both thrilled and terrified me. "Where do I go from here?" I asked, my voice steadier now. "Follow the path that resonates within your heart," the figure instructed, gesturing toward a narrow trail that wound deeper into the mountains. "But be vigilant, for the shadows will seek to mislead you. Trust your instincts and listen to the whispers of the past." With that, the figure began to dissolve into the mist, its presence fading as swiftly as it had appeared. "Remember," it echoed, "you are not alone. The journey is yours to navigate." I stood there, heart pounding, the weight of its words reverberating in my mind. Gathering my resolve, I turned toward the path that beckoned me. The key in my pocket felt heavier, a tangible reminder of the choices I had yet to make. With each step, the shadows whispered around me, their voices an unsettling symphony. "You will falter. You will fail. You will regret." "No," I countered, my voice fierce and unwavering. "I will learn. I will grow. I will embrace the journey." As I descended deeper into the mountains, the air grew colder and the shadows thickened, wrapping around me like a shroud. Yet, amid the uncertainty, I felt a flicker of hope igniting within me, urging me to forge ahead. The path twisted sharply, leading me to a clearing surrounded by towering cliffs. At its center stood a massive stone door, intricately carved with symbols that echoed the patterns of the keys I held. My heart raced as I approached, drawn to the door's imposing presence. "This must be it," I whispered, all washing over me. The door to the next chapter of my journey. I glanced at the keys in my pocket, feeling their weight pressing against me. I could sense the energy emanating from the stone door, an invitation and a challenge intertwined. As I stood before the door, I took a deep breath, summoning the courage that had carried me this far. "I am ready to embrace whatever lies beyond," I declared, reaching for the larger key first. With trembling fingers, I inserted it into the keyhole. A surge of energy pulsed through me, the air crackling with electricity. The moment I turned the key, a low rumble echoed through the mountains, and the door creaked open, revealing a darkness that beckoned me forward. Heart pounding, I stepped through the threshold, knowing that I was on the cusp of discovering the truth hidden within the shadows. As I stepped through the massive stone door, a rush of cold air enveloped me, stealing the breath from my lungs. The darkness beyond was thick, almost palpable, wrapping around me like a heavy cloak. I hesitated for a moment, my heart racing in my chest, but the pull of discovery urged me onward. I took a tentative step forward, feeling the solid ground beneath my feet give way to something softer, a carpet of moss that muffled my footsteps. It was dark, but not entirely devoid of light. A faint glow emanated from the walls, revealing intricate carvings that seemed to pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. Each step brought new shapes into focus, swirling designs that danced and twirled, telling stories of long-forgotten tales. As I ventured deeper into the chamber, the air grew thick with a musty scent, mixed with something floral yet decayed, a reminder of time lost. The darkness felt alive, whispering secrets that lingered just beyond my comprehension. I glanced back, half expecting the stone door to slam shut, but it remained open, casting a thin line of light that flickered against the shadows. "Keep moving," I whispered to myself, shaking off the sense of foreboding that gnawed at the edges of my mind. "You came here for answers." The path wound through the cavernous space, leading me toward a central chamber illuminated by an ethereal glow. As I stepped into the larger room, I gasped at the sight before me. The chamber was vast, its ceilings soaring above like the inside of a cathedral, adorned with glittering crystals that hung like stars in a night sky. At the center stood a stone pedestal, upon which lay an ornate book, its pages shimmering like a mirage. The book seemed to call to me, its presence radiating an energy that thrummed in harmony with my own. I approached it slowly, drawn by an inexplicable force. The cover of the book was embossed with a familiar symbol, the same swirling patterns that adorned the keys in my pocket and the door behind me. My fingers trembled as I reached out to touch the surface. The moment my skin brushed against the cool leather, the pages fluttered open, revealing words that began to glow with a golden light. "The Chronicles of the Unseen," I read aloud, the words reverberating in my mind. "A tale of choices, shadows, and the journey of the soul." I leaned closer, trying to decipher the text, but the words danced before my eyes, shifting and changing as if they were alive. Suddenly, a vision flashed before me, images cascading like a waterfall. I saw myself standing at a crossroads, each path illuminated by the glow of potential futures. I watched in awe as the paths began to divide, some leading to vibrant gardens filled with laughter and joy, while others descended into dark chasms of despair and regret. The choices I had made, the moments of hesitation, and the courage to leap all unfolded before me. As the visions played out, I felt a deep understanding settle within me. The paths were not just options, they were reflections of my own psyche, the interplay of light and shadow that defined who I was. "Choose wisely," the book whispered, its voice soft and melodic. "For each choice shapes the reality of your journey." I closed my eyes, allowing the weight of its words to sink in. The truth resonated deep within my soul. I was the architect of my destiny. The shadows that had haunted me were merely the remnants of my past, and I had the power to forge a new path. "Show me the way," I pleaded, desperation creeping into my voice. "Help me understand what I need to do." At that moment, the book responded, the pages flipping rapidly until they landed on a passage that glowed with an intense brightness. I leaned in, focusing on the words. "To navigate the shadows, one must embrace the light within. The keys you hold are not just artifacts, they are the essence of your decisions. Each key unlocks a door to a potential future, but beware, the shadows will seek to twist your choices, to lead you astray." I absorbed the wisdom, my heart racing with anticipation. I understood now that the keys represented not just access to hidden realms, but the choices I had to make in the face of my fears. The path ahead would require courage, resilience, and an unwavering belief in my own strength. Feeling a surge of determination, I closed the book, its energy still humming in the air around me. I glanced toward the open door, the shadows flickering behind it like ghosts waiting to ensnare me. Enough of this fear, I declared, straightening my posture. I am ready to confront whatever lies beyond. I turned back to the pedestal, determined to take action. The 2 keys I carried felt heavy in my pocket, each one representing a different choice, a different path. I placed my hand on the larger key, feeling the familiar energy coursing through me. "Unlock your destiny," the book urged, its voice echoing in the chamber. "But remember, every choice carries consequences." I took a deep breath, allowing the weight of the moment to settle around me. I had come too far to turn back now. With purpose, I approached the stone door, the darkness beyond whispering promises and threats in equal measure. I inserted the key into the lock, feeling the energy hum through the metal. The moment I turned it, a low rumble shook the ground beneath my feet, the door slowly creaking open to reveal an expansive abyss. "Step into the unknown," the book echoed in my mind, urging me forward. I stepped through the threshold, the darkness swallowing me whole. As I entered, a cold mist enveloped me, obscuring my vision and dampening the sounds around me. But within the mist, I could sense something moving, an energy that both excited and terrified me. I reached out, my fingers brushing against the cool air, feeling for something, anything, that might guide me through this unsettling darkness. Just then, I caught a glimpse of a flickering light in the distance, drawing me closer. I moved toward it, the glow intensifying with each step. As I approached, I realized it was not just a light, but a figure, an ethereal being radiating warmth and hope. "Welcome, Seeker," the figure said, its voice a soothing balm against the chill. "You have taken the first step into a realm where choices define existence. Here, the truth of your journey will unfold." The being extended its hand, inviting me to come closer. My heart raced with a mix of fear and exhilaration. This was a turning point, the moment where my past and future converged. "I am ready," I breathed, feeling the weight of my choices pressing upon me. "I want to understand what I must do." The figure nodded, its expression calm and wise. "To navigate the shadows and illuminate your path, you must confront the darkness within yourself. Each key you hold unlocks a different aspect of your journey, your fears, your regrets, and your desires." I glanced down at the keys in my pocket, their presence grounding me. I could feel the weight of the choices I had yet to make, the paths that lay before me. "Show me the way," I implored, my voice steady. "I will face whatever truths I must." The figure smiled, a gentle light emanating from it. "Then let us begin. Trust in the journey, and remember that you are never alone. Your strength resides within." With those words echoing in my mind, I stepped forward into the light, ready to embrace the journey that awaited me. As I stepped into the radiant light, I felt a rush of warmth envelop me, contrasting sharply with the chill of the darkness I had just left behind. The ethereal figure shimmered like a mirage, its form shifting and fluid, a manifestation of light and energy. I could feel the air vibrating with possibilities, each breath drawing me deeper into this new realm. "Welcome to the Vale of Shadows," the figure intoned, its voice a harmonious blend of tones that resonated through my entire being. "This is the space between worlds, where your choices take shape and the consequences of your actions manifest." I looked around, trying to absorb my surroundings. The light flickered like candle flames, revealing a landscape that felt both familiar and surreal. There were rolling hills covered in soft grass, glimmering streams that sparkled like diamonds, and ancient trees that reached toward the sky, their leaves whispering secrets in the wind. Yet, in the corners of my vision, shadows twisted and danced, lurking just beyond the light's embrace. "Why is there darkness here?" I asked, a knot of unease tightening in my stomach. If this is a place of light, why are there shadows? The figure smiled knowingly. Shadows are not to be feared, dear seeker. They are a part of your journey, a reflection of the choices you have made and those yet to come. It is in confronting the shadows that you will uncover your true strength. I nodded, the weight of its words sinking in. I had always feared the darkness, but perhaps it was time to shift my perspective. What do I need to do? I pressed, determination bubbling within me. To begin, you must choose which key to unlock first, the figure said, gesturing toward a path that forked into two directions. Each path was marked by an intricate symbol, glowing faintly, one resembling a sun, the other a crescent moon. The sun represents your aspirations, your desires. The moon embodies your fears and regrets. I stared at the paths, a mix of apprehension and excitement swirling within me. The choice felt monumental, each option brimming with potential. What happens if I choose the sun? I asked, my heart racing. If you choose the sun, you will explore the aspirations that drive you, the dreams you hold dear, the figure explained. But be wary, even in light, shadows can cloud your vision. And if I choose the moon? Choosing the moon will lead you to confront your fears and regrets, the shadows that haunt your past. It is a path of truth, but one that may be difficult to walk. I took a deep breath, my thoughts racing. I could feel the weight of both choices pressing on me, urging me to decide. The sun beckoned with its warmth, promising clarity and hope, while the moon whispered of hidden truths, beckoning me to face what I had long avoided. Finally, I squared my shoulders, my resolve crystallizing. I want to confront my fears, I declared. I choose the moon. The figure's expression shifted to one of approval. A brave choice, seeker. Embrace the journey, for it will lead you to greater understanding. With that, I stepped onto the path marked by the crescent moon, the shadows deepening around me as I ventured forth. The light faded, and I felt the coolness of the air enveloping me once more. I walked in silence, my heart pounding with anticipation, the whispers of my past swirling in my mind. As I walked, the landscape began to change. The vibrant colors faded, replaced by muted shades of gray and blue. The grass became brittle, crunching beneath my feet, and the trees twisted grotesquely, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. I could feel the weight of the shadows pressing in, surrounding me with a sense of foreboding. With every step, memories flooded back, fragments of my past that I had tried to bury. Faces of loved ones, moments of joy, and echoes of laughter mingled with the sharp pang of regret. The shadows danced at the edges of my vision, taunting me with the decisions I had made and the paths I had left unexplored. Suddenly, I stopped, my heart racing. In the distance, I saw a flicker of movement, dark figures darting between the trees. I strained to see more clearly, but they remained elusive, their forms shifting like smoke. My breath quickened, and a wave of panic surged within me. Don't be afraid, the figure's voice echoed in my mind, a gentle reminder of the strength I carried within. Face them. They are merely reflections of your fears. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I can do this, I whispered, grounding myself in the moment. I had chosen this path for a reason, and it was time to confront the shadows. As I moved deeper into the forest, the figures began to take shape, manifestations of my regrets. I saw myself as a child, feeling small and insignificant, lost in the chaos of my family's struggles. The laughter of friends turned to echoes of betrayal, each face a reminder of bonds that had frayed over time. I stumbled, the weight of my emotions threatening to overwhelm me. Why are you showing me this? I shouted into the shadows, anger and pain flooding my voice. I've moved on. I've tried to let go. You cannot escape what you have not faced, a voice whispered, chilling my bones. The figures drew closer, their eyes hollow, reflecting the turmoil within me. With every regret laid bare, I felt a surge of defiance. No! I cried, my voice rising above the shadows. You do not define me. I am not my past. The shadows paused, a flicker of uncertainty rippling through their forms. In that moment of clarity, I understood I had the power to rewrite my story. I reached into my pocket, grasping the smaller key, the one that had been nestled there since the beginning of my journey. You may represent my fears, but you cannot control me, I declared, holding the key aloft. The shadows recoiled, their forms flickering like candle flames caught in a gust of wind. Face us, they hissed, voices merging into a cacophony of whispers. You cannot escape your choices. Perhaps not, I replied, my voice steady and firm. But I can choose how I let them shape me. I am not afraid. With that, I inserted the key into the nearest shadow, feeling a jolt of energy surge through me. The moment the key turned, the darkness erupted in a brilliant flash of light, scattering the shadows like ashes in the wind. I closed my eyes, the warmth of the light enveloping me, washing over my skin like a soothing balm. When I opened them again, the forest had transformed. The shadows had dissipated, revealing a vibrant landscape filled with color and life. The trees stood tall and proud, their leaves shimmering in shades of emerald, and the sun broke through the clouds, casting golden rays upon the ground. I breathed deeply, relief flooding my senses. I had confronted my fears and emerged stronger, and for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope ignite within me. Remember, Seeker, the figure's voice echoed, a comforting presence at my side. This is only the beginning. Embrace the journey ahead, for more truths await. I nodded, filled with a newfound sense of purpose. The path before me shimmered, inviting me to take the next step, to uncover the next layer of my journey. As I ventured forward, I felt lighter, unburdened by the weight of my past. I had faced the shadows, and now, with each step I took, I could feel the strength of my choices guiding me into the light. The path ahead unfurled like a ribbon, inviting me into a landscape alive with possibility. The sun warmed my skin, and a gentle breeze carried the sweet scent of blooming flowers. I felt invigorated, my heart brimming with newfound hope. But as I walked, a flicker of doubt crept in, reminding me that I had only just begun to scratch the surface of my journey. Each step resonated with the decisions I had made and the shadows I had faced, echoing through the vibrant surroundings. The trees, once twisted and menacing, now stood tall and regal, their leaves shimmering in the golden light. It was as if the forest itself rejoiced in my victory over the shadows, celebrating my resolve. As I continued along the path, I noticed clusters of flowers blooming along the edges, their colors vivid and striking. There were daisies, their white petals reaching for the sun, and deep violet irises that swayed gracefully in the wind. I bent down to touch the delicate petals, feeling their velvety softness against my fingertips. The flowers seemed to pulse with life, their energy resonating with my own. Suddenly, I heard laughter, a bright, melodic sound that echoed through the air. I followed the sound, my heart racing with curiosity. As I rounded a bend, I stumbled upon a clearing filled with joyous figures, their laughter ringing like chimes in the breeze. Children danced in circles, their faces alight with joy, while adults watched with smiles, their eyes shining with warmth. I stood frozen for a moment, captivated by the scene before me. It felt like a glimpse into a forgotten memory, a vision of what could have been. "Join us," a girl with bright red hair called out, her laughter infectious. She beckoned me with a flourish, her eyes sparkling like stars. I hesitated, my mind racing. This moment felt like a stark contrast to the shadows I had just confronted. "Is this real?" I questioned, uncertainty creeping back in. "Or just an illusion?" The red-haired girl grinned. "Why not find out? You've faced your fears, now it's time to embrace the joy." With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, I stepped into the clearing. The moment I crossed the threshold, I felt a rush of warmth envelop me, like a long-lost embrace. I was swept up into the dance, laughter bubbling within me as I twirled and spun alongside the children. "See? It feels good to be free," the girl exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. I let go of my doubts, allowing the music of the moment to sweep me away. But as the laughter echoed around me, shadows lingered at the edges of the clearing, whispering secrets that tugged at my consciousness. I caught glimpses of darker figures, watching from the trees, their hollow eyes filled with longing and despair. "Why do they look so sad?" I asked, my heart heavy with concern as I pointed to the shadows lurking just beyond the light. "They are the forgotten," a wise voice chimed in, a gentle presence beside me. The figure from before materialized, shimmering with a comforting glow. "They represent the joy that has slipped away, the moments lost to fear and regret." The laughter around me began to fade, replaced by a lingering silence that wrapped around us like a shroud. I could see the sorrow etched on the faces of the shadows, a reminder of the choices that had led them to this moment. "Can they be helped?" I asked, my heart aching for the lost souls. The figure nodded solemnly. "To embrace joy, one must acknowledge the sorrow. You have the power to reach out to them, to show them the light within." I took a deep breath, determination swelling in my chest. I won't let them fade into darkness. I want to help. With that resolve, I approached the edge of the clearing, my heart pounding in my chest. The shadows flickered in my presence, their hollow eyes widening with a mix of surprise and curiosity. "What do you want?" one whispered, its voice a haunting echo. "I want to understand," I replied, my voice steady. "I want to help you find your joy again." The shadows shifted, a palpable tension filling the air. "Joy has abandoned us," another murmured, its voice thick with sorrow. "We are bound by our choices, lost in a cycle of regret." "But it doesn't have to be that way," I urged, stepping closer. "You can break free." I faced my fears, and it led me here. "You can choose to step into the light." The shadows hesitated, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. I could feel their pain, the weight of their regrets pressing down upon them like a heavy cloak. "You can't know what we've lost," one of them said, a tremor in its voice. "I may not know your stories, but I know what it feels like to be lost," I replied, my heart aching for their plight. "But we have the power to rewrite our stories, to choose how we let our past shape us." As I spoke, the light around me began to shimmer, and the joyous laughter from the clearing seemed to swell with encouragement. The shadows shifted closer, their forms flickering like candle flames in the wind, drawn to the warmth of my words. "Join me," I urged, extending my hand toward them. "Let's find the joy that lies within us. You don't have to be alone in this." Slowly, the shadows began to merge, their forms solidifying as they reached for my outstretched hand. I felt a surge of energy coursing through me, a connection forming between us, a bridge of understanding that spanned the chasm of despair. As they took my hand, the darkness began to dissolve, replaced by a radiant light that enveloped us. The shadows transformed, their hollow eyes brightening with newfound hope. Together, we stepped into the clearing, joining the joyful dance of the children. Laughter erupted once more, this time richer and more profound, resonating with the joy of both the living and the lost. The shadows had shed their sorrow, embraced by the light of possibility. "Thank you," one of them whispered, a genuine smile breaking across its face. "You have given us hope." The figure beside me smiled, pride radiating from its luminous form. "You have done well, Seeker. You have illuminated the path for those who felt lost in darkness. Remember, each choice you make carries the potential for change." As the dance continued, I felt a warmth enveloping me, a sense of belonging that filled the empty spaces within my heart. I had faced the shadows, embraced the light, and in doing so, I had forged connections that transcended time and space. "Together, we will continue to grow," I promised, my heart swelling with gratitude. "We are stronger in the light, and we will not let fear define us." The children laughed, spinning joyfully, while the shadows joined their dance, their forms shimmering with renewed vitality. I had stepped into the unknown, faced my fears, and emerged transformed. But as the joyous laughter filled the air, a sudden chill swept through the clearing, sending a shiver down my spine. The shadows at the edges flickered ominously, and I felt a tightening in my chest, a reminder that while I had embraced the light, the shadows were still present, waiting for the moment to reclaim their hold. "What's happening?" I asked, panic rising within me as I looked toward the figure. "Why do I feel this darkness creeping back?" The figure's expression shifted, a hint of concern in its eyes. "The shadows will always seek to reclaim what they have lost. You must remain vigilant, Seeker, for the journey is far from over." I nodded, determination surging within me once more. I had faced the darkness and helped others find their light. I could confront whatever lay ahead. "Let's continue," I said, gathering my strength. "I am ready for whatever comes next." With that resolve, I stepped forward into the unknown, ready to embrace the next chapter of my journey. With each step I took, the warmth of the clearing faded behind me, and a chilling wind swept through the forest, rustling the leaves like whispers of discontent. The laughter and joy that had enveloped me began to dissipate, replaced by an unsettling silence that wrapped around me like a heavy fog. I could feel the shadows lurking at the edges of my vision, their presence a constant reminder that darkness still existed, waiting for the chance to reclaim its hold. The path ahead twisted and turned, the vibrant colors giving way to muted shades of gray and black. The trees, once majestic and alive, now seemed gnarled and twisted, their branches reaching out like bony fingers, clawing at the air. The weight of despair settled in the pit of my stomach, each step forward feeling heavier than the last. "What lies ahead?" I murmured, the words escaping my lips in a hushed whisper. The air felt thick with tension, and the shadows whispered secrets that clawed at my mind, threatening to pull me back into the darkness I had just escaped. "Remember, Seeker," the figure beside me said, its voice a calming presence amidst the chaos. "You have the power to shape your path. Trust in your choices." I nodded, trying to hold on to the light I had embraced. "I will not be defined by my past," I declared, but doubt flickered within me like a candle struggling against a tempest. As I pressed forward, the path narrowed, and I could feel the shadows pressing in on all sides. My heart raced, a primal instinct warning me of the danger that lurked just beyond the edges of the light. I strained to listen, to hear the whispers that danced on the wind, but the words eluded me, slipping through my fingers like grains of sand. Suddenly, the ground beneath my feet shifted, and I stumbled, barely catching myself against a tree. The bark felt rough against my skin, grounding me in the moment. But as I looked up, a figure emerged from the shadows, its form indistinct and swirling like smoke. "Why do you persist?" it hissed, its voice a low growl that sent shivers down my spine. "You cannot escape what you are." I took a step back, fear coursing through me. "I am not afraid of you," I replied, my voice trembling despite my bravado. "I will not let you define me." The figure laughed, a sound that echoed like thunder. "You think you can escape your essence? You are bound to your choices, and the shadows will always find you." With those words, the shadows around me thickened, swirling like a storm. I could feel their icy fingers wrapping around me, threatening to pull me under. Panic surged within me, and I fought against their grip, summoning the light I had found in the clearing. "I choose to face you," I shouted, my voice ringing out like a clarion call. "You do not control me." As I declared my intention, the light within me flared, illuminating the shadows that surrounded me. The figure writhed and recoiled, its form flickering like a candle caught in a gust of wind. I could feel the warmth of the sun radiating from my core, a beacon in the darkness. "You think you can defeat me?" it hissed, its voice dripping with malice. "The shadows are eternal. They will always return." "Perhaps," I replied, my heart pounding fiercely. "But I will not let them win. I am not defined by my fears, but by my choices. I choose to embrace the light." With that declaration, I took a step forward, channeling my energy into the light. The shadows recoiled, their forms flickering wildly as the brightness pushed back against their encroaching darkness. I could feel the heat radiating from within me, a surge of strength that surged through my veins. As I pressed forward, the figure faltered, its form dissipating like mist under the sun. "You may win this battle," it spat, its voice filled with fury. "But the war is far from over." And with those final words, the figure vanished, leaving behind an echo of its laughter that resonated in the air long after it had gone. I stood there, my heart racing, the remnants of fear still clinging to me like shadows. The path ahead began to clear, the darkness receding as the light grew brighter. I took a deep breath, grounding myself in the moment. "I can do this," I whispered, the affirmation bolstering my spirit. "I am stronger than my fears." As I continued down the path, the shadows whispered around me, but I held onto the light within, determined to forge ahead. The forest began to change once more, the trees straightened, their leaves shimmering with vibrant hues. The air felt lighter, filled with the scent of wildflowers and the gentle hum of life. After what felt like an eternity, I stumbled upon a clearing bathed in golden light. In the center stood an ancient stone archway, its surface etched with intricate symbols that glowed softly, pulsing with a rhythm that resonated with my heartbeat. I approached the archway, feeling drawn to its presence. "What is this place?" I wondered aloud, my curiosity piqued. "This is a threshold," the figure said, materializing beside me. "It represents the choices you've made thus far. To pass through, you must confront the next layer of your journey." "What lies beyond?" I asked, a mix of excitement and trepidation surging within me. "The next challenge awaits," the figure replied, its voice steady and calm. "But know that you carry the light of your choices with you. Trust in yourself." Taking a deep breath, I stepped forward, crossing beneath the archway. A rush of energy surged through me, enveloping me in a cocoon of warmth. The world around me shimmered and blurred, reality bending like a reflection in a disturbed pond. As the energy subsided, I found myself standing in a new realm, one that felt both familiar and alien. The landscape was filled with swirling colors, a chaotic blend of light and shadow that danced before my eyes. I looked around, taking in the surreal beauty of it all. "What is this place?" I asked, bewildered. "This is a reflection of your inner world," the figure explained, its voice echoing softly in the vibrant chaos. "Here, you will confront your deepest desires and the choices that have shaped them." I took a tentative step forward, the ground beneath me shifting like a living canvas. Colors swirled and pulsed, creating images that flickered like memories, some joyful, others painful. I felt the weight of my past pressing down on me, urging me to reflect on the decisions I had made and their impact on my present. Suddenly, a vision materialized before me, an image of my childhood home, bathed in warm sunlight. I saw myself playing in the yard, laughter echoing through the air. But as I watched, the scene shifted, darkening into a stormy memory filled with shouts and anger, the happiness evaporating like mist. "No," I gasped, pain clenching around my heart. "I've moved on from this." The figure stepped closer, its presence a calming force amidst the chaos. "Acknowledging your past is essential to understanding your desires. Only by facing these memories can you uncover the truth behind your choices." With a heavy heart, I stepped deeper into the swirling colors, allowing the memories to wash over me. I felt the warmth of the joyful moments mingling with the coldness of regret, each emotion intertwining like threads in a tapestry. As the images flickered, I saw my dreams taking shape, visions of a life filled with passion, creativity, and love. But alongside them, shadows of doubt crept in, whispering of failure and inadequacy. "What if I'm not enough?" I questioned, uncertainty gnawing at my resolve. "You are enough," the figure reassured me, its voice steady and firm. "Your dreams are valid, and your desires are worth pursuing. Do not let the shadows define your worth." Taking a deep breath, I summoned my courage, determined to confront the doubts that lingered. "I will not let fear dictate my choices any longer," I declared, feeling the warmth of resolve ignite within me. With newfound clarity, I reached out to the swirling colors, channeling my energy into the visions of my dreams. "I choose to embrace my desires," I proclaimed, feeling the light radiating from within me. The swirling colors began to stabilize, coalescing into vibrant images of hope and possibility. The warmth enveloped me, banishing the shadows that had sought to claim me. I could feel the energy of my dreams pulsating around me, vibrant and alive. As I stepped forward, the colors brightened, illuminating the darkness that had lingered. I felt a surge of energy, a connection forming between my heart and the universe, as if the very fabric of reality was responding to my choice. In that moment of clarity, I understood I had the power to shape my own destiny. I was not bound by my past or defined by my fears. With each choice I made, I could forge a new path, one filled with hope and possibility. As the last remnants of doubt dissolved, the swirling colors transformed into a breathtaking landscape, vibrant and alive with potential. The shadows retreated, their whispers fading into silence. "Welcome to your new beginning," the figure said, a proud smile illuminating its face. I looked around, filled with a sense of wonder and possibility. This was my moment, a chance to embrace my dreams, to carve out my destiny. But as I stood in the brilliance of this new realm, a shadow flickered at the periphery of my vision, a reminder that even in this vibrant place, the echoes of my past could not be completely erased. "Not yet," I murmured, trying to shake off the feeling that something lingered just beyond the edges of my perception. The newfound light enveloped me, but an unsettling chill threaded through the air, tugging at my resolve. As I stepped further into this kaleidoscopic landscape, I was drawn to a central clearing adorned with flowers of every hue. Their petals glistened in the warm light, and the air was thick with their sweet fragrance. Yet, despite the beauty surrounding me, unease coiled in my stomach, whispering that something was amiss. "Embrace this space," the figure encouraged. "Here, your dreams and desires intertwine. This is where you will confront the shadows of your past." I nodded, steeling myself for what lay ahead. A shimmering portal hovered in the center of the clearing, its surface a swirling mosaic of colors that shifted like a living entity. "What is this?" I asked, curiosity mingling with trepidation. "This portal leads to the heart of your fears," the figure explained, its tone serious. "To truly embrace your desires, you must confront what holds you back. Only then can you gain the clarity you seek." Taking a deep breath, I approached the portal, the vibrant colors swirling hypnotically. The warm light beckoned me, yet I could feel a cold pull from within, a dark whisper that cautioned me against crossing its threshold. I hesitated, uncertainty flooding my thoughts. "What if I'm not ready?" I whispered, fear creeping into my voice. "You will never be fully ready," the figure replied. "Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the choice to act despite it. Trust in yourself. You are stronger than you realize." With its words echoing in my mind, I grasped the edges of the portal. The surface shimmered under my touch, and I could feel the energy pulsing beneath it. "I can do this," I affirmed, determination sparking within me. Steeling my resolve, I stepped through the portal. A rush of sensations engulfed me, colors and sounds melding into a cacophony that disoriented my senses. As the whirlwind subsided, I found myself in a dimly lit chamber, the air heavy with an oppressive silence. The walls were lined with mirrors, their surfaces reflecting fragmented images of myself, some joyous, some twisted with pain. I looked closer, seeing moments from my past flash before me, laughter shared with friends, the warmth of family, but also shadows of loss, regret, and moments of despair that I had buried deep. I stepped back, my heart pounding. "This isn't real," I shouted, trying to dispel the haunting reflections. "I've moved past this." But the mirrors echoed my cries, distorting my voice into a mocking laughter that reverberated throughout the chamber. Panic surged within me as I felt the shadows creep closer, the darkness whispering the doubts I thought I had silenced. "You cannot escape," a voice slithered through the air, echoing from the mirrors. "You are defined by your failures." "No!" I shouted, clenching my fists. I refused to be a prisoner of my past. As I spoke those words, the mirrors rippled, and one of them transformed, revealing a vision of my childhood home. The sight was almost comforting, but the scene morphed into a nightmare, a memory of a stormy night when harsh words were exchanged, and I felt the weight of disappointment crush my spirit. "Face it," the voice commanded, its tone sharp like a blade. "This is who you are." With a surge of defiance, I approached the mirror, my reflection distorted into a shadow of despair. "This does not define me," I declared, my voice steadying. "I am not that scared child anymore." The mirror flickered as I confronted it, the shadows swirling around me like a tempest. I closed my eyes and focused on the warmth inside me, the light that had guided me through the forest. I felt it radiating, a beacon of hope that began to dispel the darkness. With renewed strength, I shouted, "I choose to embrace my journey. I will not be bound by my past." The mirror shattered, sending shards flying through the air, each piece reflecting a different moment of my life, both joyous and painful. The darkness retreated, dissolving into mist, and the oppressive silence was replaced by a gentle hum of energy. As the remnants of the shattered mirror scattered around me, I saw glimpses of my dreams dancing within the fragments. I felt my heart swell with a mix of grief and hope, the weight of my past beginning to lift. I was ready to embrace the complexities of my existence, the light and the shadows that shaped me. "Good," the figure said, appearing beside me once more, its expression proud. "You are beginning to understand. Each choice you make from this point forward can either pull you deeper into the shadows or lift you into the light." I looked around the chamber, now filled with a soft glow as the darkness faded away. "What's next?" I asked, anticipation bubbling within me. "Now, you must confront the final shadow, the one that stands between you and your true desires," the figure explained. "Follow the path ahead and be prepared for the truths that lie waiting." Taking a deep breath, I nodded, feeling a sense of purpose rising within me. I stepped forward, the walls of the chamber shifting to reveal a narrow passageway bathed in light. As I moved deeper into the corridor, the air felt charged with energy, the anticipation palpable. After what felt like an eternity, I emerged into a vast, open space, a majestic hall lined with pillars that reached toward the heavens. The light was brighter here, illuminating the intricate carvings that adorned the walls, each telling a story of struggle and triumph. In the center of the hall stood a massive door, its surface shimmering with ethereal light. I approached cautiously, drawn to its presence. As I reached for the handle, a voice echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant. "You stand at the threshold of your desires," it proclaimed, filling the space with authority. "But be warned, the truth you seek may not be what you expect. Are you prepared to face it?" "Yes," I answered, my heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. "I'm ready to confront whatever lies beyond." With a firm grip, I pulled the door open. A blinding light poured into the hall, enveloping me in its warmth. I stepped through, feeling a wave of energy wash over me, pulling me into a new reality. I found myself standing on the edge of a cliff overlooking a breathtaking landscape. The sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Below, a vast expanse of forest stretched as far as the eye could see, shimmering with life. "This is your world," the figure said, appearing beside me. "It is shaped by your choices, your dreams, and your fears. What do you wish to create?" I looked out over the landscape, my heart swelling with possibility. "I want to build a life filled with joy and love," I declared, feeling the truth of my words resonate within me. "I want to help others and find my purpose." The figure smiled, its expression warm and encouraging. "Then embrace this desire. Manifest it into reality." As I closed my eyes, I concentrated on the vision of my future. I felt the energy of the world around me responding, pulsating with life as I poured my intention into the air. I could sense the whispers of possibility, each breath I took weaving the threads of my desires into existence. Suddenly, a shadow flickered at the edge of my vision, darkening the vibrant colors around me. My heart sank as I turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, a twisted reflection of myself, cloaked in darkness. "You think you can escape me?" it hissed, its voice filled with malice. "I am the sum of your fears, and I will always be a part of you." "No," I shouted, panic clawing at my throat. "You do not control me." The shadow advanced, its form shifting and swirling like smoke. "You cannot defeat me. I am your doubt, your regret. I will consume you." I felt the weight of despair settling in my chest, but I knew that this was the final test, the last obstacle standing between me and my true desires. I summoned the warmth of the light within me, feeling its surge and pulse, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. You are not my master. I yelled, my voice ringing out with newfound conviction. I embrace all of me, the light and the dark. With those words, I drew upon the strength of my experiences, the love I have for myself and the world around me. I was not merely a victim of my past, I was the architect of my future. The light exploded from within, illuminating the darkness that surrounded me. The shadow recoiled, its form flickering and writhing as the brilliance pierced through its veil of despair. I choose to rise above my fears. I shouted, the energy pulsing through me like a tidal wave. I choose to live. As my declaration echoed through the air, the shadow shattered, dissipating into a cloud of darkness that faded away. I felt the weight lift from my shoulders, the shadows that had once haunted me now gone. I stood in the radiant light, breathless but triumphant. I did it, I whispered, disbelief mingling with joy. The landscape around me shimmered with vibrant colors, the air filled with the sweet scent of possibility. I had confronted the darkness within, and in doing so, I had embraced the light. The figure smiled at me, its presence warm and affirming. You have taken the first steps toward your true self. The journey continues, but you are no longer bound by fear. You are free to create the life you desire. With those words, I turned to face the horizon, my heart filled with hope. The path ahead was still uncertain, but I was ready to embrace whatever came next. I had faced the shadows and emerged stronger, armed with the knowledge that I could shape my destiny. But just as I began to step forward, a chilling breeze swept through the air, carrying with it the echo of a voice that sent shivers down my spine. You think this is over? It whispered, a low growl that reverberated in my mind. This is just the beginning. My heart raced, and I felt the darkness lurking at the edges of my newfound light. I glanced back at the figure, confusion flooding my thoughts. What does that mean? The figure's expression grew serious. The journey to self-discovery is ongoing. Each step you take will bring new challenges, new shadows to confront. But remember, you have the strength to face them. I swallowed hard, realizing the truth in its words. The darkness would always be a part of me, but I could choose how I responded. I will not back down, I vowed, determination igniting within me. I will embrace every part of myself, no matter how difficult. As I turned back to the horizon, a sense of purpose washed over me. I would not let fear dictate my path. I would walk forward into the light, ready to face whatever awaited me. But in the depths of my mind, the haunting whisper lingered, a reminder that the shadows would always return, testing my resolve at every turn. As I turned back to the horizon, a sense of purpose washed over me. I would not let fear dictate my path. I would walk forward into the light, ready to face whatever awaited me. But in the depths of my mind, the haunting whisper lingered, a reminder that the shadows would always return, testing my resolve at every turn. With each step I took, the vibrant landscape around me began to shift. The once familiar forest became dense, the trees towering overhead, their branches intertwining like skeletal hands reaching out to ensnare me. The cheerful colors dulled, the sun's warmth fading as clouds gathered ominously overhead. The air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my eye. I turned, expecting to see the figure from before, but instead, I was met with an unsettling silence. The shadows deepened, and the whispers of the wind transformed into a cacophony of hushed voices, echoes of doubt and fear clawing at my consciousness. "Why did you come back?" one voice taunted, its tone dripping with malice. "You can never escape your past." "Foolish to think you can change," another whispered, chilling my spine. You're still the same weak child. I pressed my hands to my ears, willing myself to ignore the voices. No, I am not weak. I am strong, I shouted into the swirling darkness. But the shadows only laughed, a cacophony of cruel mirth that echoed around me. The ground beneath my feet trembled, and I stumbled, falling to my knees as the reality of my situation weighed heavily on me. "Face it," a voice hissed, and I looked up to see the shadowy figure from before re-emerging from the gloom, its features contorted into a grotesque parody of myself. "You cannot change who you are. You will always be a prisoner of your fears." "No!" I cried, rage igniting within me. "I will not be defined by you." Drawing upon the light that had once burned so brightly within me, I rose to my feet. My determination surged, creating a barrier against the encroaching shadows. The figure recoiled momentarily, but its twisted smile remained. "Very well," it said, its voice oozing with contempt. "Let's see how far that light takes you." With a flick of its hand, the world around me shifted again. The forest vanished, replaced by a desolate wasteland. The ground was cracked and barren, the sky a swirling mass of gray. It felt like a graveyard, an echo of despair that seeped into my bones. I stood at the center, feeling utterly alone. The oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on me, and I could almost hear the whispers of lost dreams swirling in the air. "This is what you truly deserve," the shadow continued. "A life devoid of hope." "No!" I shouted again, the word carrying a weight of defiance. "I deserve to thrive. I deserve happiness." The shadow laughed, a sound that sent chills down my spine. "But do you really believe that? Do you even know what happiness is?" With that, it raised its hand, and the ground shifted beneath me. The barren landscape began to transform, revealing scenes from my past, moments of joy twisted into grotesque forms. I saw my childhood home, but it was engulfed in flames, the echoes of my laughter replaced by the screams of despair. "Remember this?" the shadow taunted. "You were powerless then, just as you are now." I felt a knot of fear tighten in my chest, but I refused to succumb to it. "I was a child," I shouted back, "and I am no longer that child. I've grown, and I've learned. I have the power to shape my own reality." With that declaration, I focused on the light within me, drawing upon the strength of every experience I had survived. The air around me shimmered, a golden glow beginning to push back against the encroaching darkness. "I choose to embrace the love and joy that exists in my life," I proclaimed, my voice resonating with conviction. "I will not allow you to control me." The shadow hissed, its form beginning to warp as the light grew brighter. "You think you can extinguish me?" it spat, rage filling its voice. "I will always be a part of you." I felt the ground tremble beneath me, but I stood firm, my feet planted in the earth. "Perhaps you will always be a part of me," I acknowledged, my heart racing. "But you will not dictate my actions or my happiness." The light surged, and the shadow shrieked in protest as it began to dissipate, the dark tendrils retreating. The landscape transformed once more, the barren wasteland replaced by a vibrant meadow bursting with wildflowers. I breathed in the fragrant air, feeling a sense of freedom wash over me. The sun broke through the clouds, casting warm rays that enveloped me. I smiled, reveling in the beauty of the moment. "This is what I choose," I whispered, the weight of the shadow lifting from my shoulders. The figure appeared beside me, its expression a mixture of pride and caution. "You have faced the darkness within, and you have emerged stronger. But remember, the shadows may return when you least expect them. You must remain vigilant. I understand, I replied, my heart swelling with gratitude. I will carry this light with me, no matter where I go. But as I turned to explore the meadow, I couldn't shake the feeling that something still lurked in the depths of my mind, an unresolved fragment of my past waiting to resurface. With newfound determination, I began to walk through the vibrant flowers, the soft petals brushing against my skin. The beauty surrounding me felt like a balm to my soul, but I was acutely aware that this was only a temporary reprieve. I would have to confront the final shadow that lay in wait. As I journeyed through the meadow, I noticed a path leading deeper into the heart of the landscape. The flowers grew denser, their colors intensifying, and a sense of anticipation thrummed in the air. I followed the path, my heart racing with the knowledge that I was nearing the culmination of my journey. After what felt like an eternity, I emerged into a clearing that was unlike anything I had ever seen. The ground was covered in soft grass, and a magnificent tree stood at the center, its trunk gnarled and ancient. The leaves shimmered like emeralds, and the air was thick with the scent of blooming blossoms. "Welcome," the tree seemed to whisper, its voice resonating deep within me. "You have come far, and now you must face your final test." I approached the tree, feeling an inexplicable connection to it. "What do I need to do?" I asked, my voice trembling with both fear and excitement. "To move forward, you must confront the deepest fear that binds you," the tree replied, its branches swaying gently. "Only by facing this fear can you truly embrace the light within you." As I stood before the tree, a wave of emotions washed over me. I could feel the shadows gathering around the edges of my mind, creeping closer. What is my deepest fear? I wondered aloud. The tree's branches rustled, and in its whispers, I could almost hear the echoes of my past, each voice a reminder of my struggles. "Your greatest fear is not failure," it said, "but the fear of being alone, of being unloved." The words struck me like a thunderbolt, and I felt my heart race. The memories of solitude flooded my mind, the times I had felt abandoned, the moments when I believed that no one cared. "No!" I shouted, shaking my head. "I have people who love me. I am not alone." The shadows laughed, their voices mingling with the rustling leaves. "But what if they leave you? What if they see the darkness within you and turn away?" The doubt twisted in my chest, and I stumbled back, uncertainty flooding my thoughts. "I've faced my past," I insisted, fighting against the tide of despair. "I've grown." "But have you truly accepted every part of yourself?" the shadows taunted, their presence looming larger. "What if you are unworthy of love? What if you are destined to be alone?" The weight of those questions pressed down on me, and I felt my resolve falter. But then I remembered the journey I had taken, the battles I had fought against the darkness, the light I had embraced. I drew a deep breath, grounding myself. "No," I declared, my voice steadier this time. "I am worthy of love. I have fought through my fears, and I will not let this shadow control me." With renewed strength, I stepped toward the tree, my heart pounding with each step. I placed my hand on its trunk, feeling the warmth radiating from its core. "I choose to believe in my worth," I said firmly. "I choose to accept all parts of myself." As the words left my lips, a blinding light erupted from the tree, enveloping me in its embrace. The shadows recoiled, their laughter turning into shrieks of rage. "No! You cannot banish us," they howled. But I felt the light expanding within me, filling every corner of my being. The warmth surged, pushing back against the darkness, banishing the whispers of doubt and fear. The shadows writhed and twisted, their forms dissolving in the radiant glow. "You may have won this battle," they hissed, retreating into the depths of my mind. "But we will return. You cannot escape us forever." I watched as the last traces of the shadows vanished, a sense of triumph swelling within me. I was free from the weight of my fears, free to embrace the love and light that surrounded me. As the light began to fade, I opened my eyes to find myself back in the clearing, the ancient tree standing tall before me. Its branches swayed gently in the breeze, a symbol of resilience and strength. "You have faced your deepest fear and emerged victorious," the tree said, its voice filled with warmth. "But remember, this is not the end of your journey. The shadows may return, but you now possess the light to confront them." "I understand," I replied, feeling the weight of its wisdom settle within me. "I will carry this light with me, no matter where I go." With that affirmation, I turned to leave the clearing, ready to embrace whatever awaited me. But as I stepped back onto the path, a chilling breeze swept through the air, carrying with it the echo of a familiar voice that sent shivers down my spine. "You think you've won?" it whispered, a low growl that reverberated in my mind. "This is just the beginning." And in that moment, I knew my battle was far from over. The shadows may have receded, but they were never truly gone. They would return, waiting for the moment when I least expected them, testing my resolve once more. But this time, I was prepared. I had faced the darkness within and emerged stronger. I would not allow fear to define my path any longer. As I walked away from the clearing, a sense of purpose surged within me. I was ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that I could shape my destiny. Yet, the chilling reminder of the shadows lingered in the back of my mind. I could feel them watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. And as I ventured forward into the unknown, I could only hope that I would be ready to face them when they did. The path ahead was overgrown, twisted roots and vines encroaching upon my way, as if nature itself conspired to obscure my journey. Each step was heavy, laden with the knowledge that the shadows were not merely remnants of my imagination but manifestations of my deepest fears. I could feel their presence lurking just beyond the veil of my consciousness, waiting for a moment of weakness. As I ventured deeper into the forest, the landscape morphed again, becoming more sinister. The trees loomed like ancient sentinels, their bark gnarled and dark, twisted faces etched into the trunks. I could almost hear them whispering my name, their voices merging into a symphony of doubt. The shadows coiled around me, tightening their grip with every passing moment. I pressed on, determined to confront the specters of my past. But the further I walked, the more the air thickened with a sense of dread. The sunlight, which had once bathed the path in warmth, now flickered like a dying flame, casting long, distorted shadows that danced menacingly at the edges of my vision. Suddenly, I stumbled upon a clearing, and my heart sank. Before me stood a dilapidated house, its windows shattered and walls crumbling, a ghost of what it once was. It was my childhood home, the place where my fears had first taken root. Memories flooded back, each one sharper than the last, and I felt the weight of nostalgia mingled with anguish. I approached the front door, its paint peeling and the wood warped with age. As I pushed it open, the hinges creaked like the moans of long-forgotten souls. The interior was shrouded in darkness, the air thick with dust and the scent of decay. It felt like stepping into a tomb, a mausoleum for my memories. Inside, the walls were lined with faded photographs of happier times, family gatherings, birthday parties, moments of laughter frozen in time. But as I scanned the room, the images began to warp, twisting into grotesque versions of themselves. The smiles became grimaces, laughter turned to wails, and the warmth of those moments faded into cold shadows. I felt a hand on my shoulder, a familiar touch that sent chills down my spine. I turned to find a figure standing behind me, my younger self, wide-eyed and trembling. "Why did you come back?" the child asked, voice quivering with fear. "You promised you would never return." "I needed to confront the past," I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. "I need to understand why the shadows haunt me." "You don't understand," the child whimpered, stepping back. "It's not safe here. The shadows will come for you." I knelt down to the child's level, wanting to reassure them. "I'm not afraid anymore. I have faced my fears, and I'm stronger than I was then." But the child's expression shifted from fear to sorrow. "But you still carry the darkness within you," they said softly. "You can't escape it." The weight of their words sank into my chest, and I felt the ground beneath me tremble. "I know it's a part of me," I admitted, "but I will not let it define who I am." As I spoke those words, the shadows around us thickened, swirling like smoke, coalescing into dark shapes that slithered across the floor. They whispered my name, their voices rising into a cacophony of despair. "Face us," they shrieked, their forms shifting into the faces of those I had lost, friends and family, their expressions twisted in anguish. "You abandoned us. You left us to rot." "No, I didn't abandon anyone," I shouted, anger surging within me. "You don't understand what I had to do to survive." The shadows coiled tighter, their whispers growing louder. "You're a coward. You always run away from your problems. You think you can just walk away and leave us behind?" I could feel their accusations clawing at my heart, but I refused to give in to their torment. I faced my fears. I'd fought through the darkness. I declared, my voice unwavering. The shadows laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the empty halls. "You've only delayed the inevitable. You'll never escape your past." In that moment, I realized that this was my final confrontation. I needed to confront not just the shadows, but also the guilt that had lingered in my heart. "You're right," I said, my voice softer now. "I've carried guilt for far too long. I never wanted to leave anyone behind." The shadows wavered, their forms flickering like candle flames. "Then why did you?" one of them taunted, stepping forward. "Why did you abandon us?" "I thought it was the only way to protect myself," I admitted, the truth spilling from my lips. "But in doing so, I lost sight of what truly mattered. I thought I could bury the pain, but it only festered." The room trembled as the shadows recoiled, and I felt a surge of energy building within me. "I cannot change the past, but I can learn from it," I continued, my resolve strengthening. "I can honor those I lost by living fully and embracing the love they gave me." As the words left my mouth, the shadows began to dissolve, their forms breaking apart like wisps of smoke. I felt the weight of their anger and sorrow lift, replaced by a warm light that enveloped me. "You are stronger than you realize," the voice of my younger self echoed. "You've come back to show us that it's okay to let go." "I will carry you with me, always," I promised, tears welling in my eyes. "I will not forget what we shared." With that declaration, the final remnants of the shadows vanished, leaving me alone in the clearing. I felt lighter, the burden of guilt lifted from my shoulders. The memories that had once haunted me were now a part of my journey, woven into the fabric of who I was becoming. But as I turned to leave the house, a flicker of darkness caught my eye. A shadow lingered at the edge of the clearing, watching silently, its presence a reminder that the battle was not yet over. I could feel the weight of its gaze, a chilling reminder of the darkness that still lurked within. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice steady despite the tremor of uncertainty. What do you want? The shadow shifted, a low growl emanating from its depths. You think you can escape me? I am the darkness you cannot deny. I will always be here, waiting. My heart raced as I took a step back, fear clawing at my chest. I am not afraid of you, I shouted, but doubt crept in, threatening to unravel the progress I had made. Your resolve is weak, the shadow hissed, its voice a dark whisper that seeped into my mind. You cannot run from yourself. You cannot hide from your past. I felt the walls of my courage begin to crack, but I forced myself to stand tall. I have faced my fears, I said, my voice firm. I have embraced the light within me, and I will not let you control me any longer. The shadow surged forward, a swirling mass of darkness that enveloped me. Panic threatened to overwhelm me, but I closed my eyes, reaching deep within to find that flicker of light. I am stronger than you think, I declared, my voice rising above the cacophony of despair. With that thought, I focused on the light, allowing it to fill me completely. It surged forth, pushing back against the darkness, illuminating the shadows that threatened to consume me. The shadow shrieked, its form flickering as the light enveloped it. You cannot do this, it howled, rage and fear intertwining in its voice. You will always be haunted by your past. But as I pressed forward, I felt the darkness begin to unravel. No! I shouted, my voice echoing through the clearing. I choose to embrace my past, not be defined by it. I will not be held prisoner by fear any longer. With a final surge of energy, the light burst forth, illuminating the clearing in a brilliant blaze. The shadow screamed, its form disintegrating into nothingness, leaving behind a silence that felt both heavy and liberating. I stood there, breathless, the remnants of fear dissipating into the air. The darkness had been vanquished, at least for now. I had faced the shadows, confronted the guilt that had haunted me, and emerged victorious. But as I looked around the clearing, I knew that my journey was far from over. The shadows may have retreated, but they would always linger at the edges of my mind, waiting for a moment of weakness. I would have to remain vigilant, ready to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. As I stepped back onto the path, I felt a sense of purpose surge within me. I had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, but I understood that the journey to self-discovery and acceptance was an ongoing process. And as I ventured forward, I could only hope that I would be ready to face whatever awaited me, shadows, light, and all. The path ahead twisted and turned like the thoughts racing through my mind. Though I had vanquished the shadow in the clearing, a lingering unease crept into my heart. The forest around me felt more alive, as if it had been holding its breath, waiting for this moment of reckoning. Every rustle of leaves, every whisper of the wind seemed to echo with the weight of what was to come. As I pressed on, the sunlight flickered intermittently, casting long shadows that danced along the ground. Each time I caught a glimpse of movement from the corner of my eye, my heart raced, and the specter of fear tugged at my consciousness. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, stalked by an unseen presence. Finally, I arrived at a familiar fork in the path, a place I recognized from my childhood. It was here that I had first encountered the shadows that had haunted my dreams, the beginning of my descent into fear. In front of me stood two paths, one bathed in light and another shrouded in darkness. The choice was clear, yet I felt an inexplicable pull toward the darker route, as if the shadows beckoned me home. Taking a deep breath, I chose the path of darkness. I felt an electrifying jolt of fear mixed with determination surge through me. I knew I had to confront whatever lay at the end of this path, the remnants of my fears, the whispers of regret, and the shadows that had tormented me for so long. With each step, the shadows grew thicker, swirling around me like a storm. I could feel their presence coiling around my legs, threatening to drag me down into their depths. "You can't escape us," they taunted, their voices a chorus of despair. "You are ours, and you always will be." But I pressed on, forcing my mind to focus on the light within me. "I am not afraid of you," I shouted, my voice echoing through the darkness. "I have faced you before, and I will do so again." As I rounded a corner, I came upon a clearing eerily reminiscent of the first. The air felt charged with tension, a palpable energy that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. At the center of the clearing stood a massive tree, its gnarled branches twisted and blackened like a sentinel of despair. The ground was littered with tombstones, each one bearing names I recognized, friends and family lost to the shadows, their faces haunting me from the past. "Welcome back," a voice purred from the shadows, slithering around me like smoke. I turned to see a figure emerging, a grotesque version of myself, twisted and dark. "You thought you could conquer your fears? You've merely postponed the inevitable." I felt a chill wash over me, recognizing this dark reflection as the embodiment of everything I had tried to escape, the guilt, the regret, the fear. "I have faced you before," I said, my voice trembling but resolute. "I will not let you control me." The shadow version of myself laughed, a sound that echoed through the clearing like a death knell. "You think this is about control? It's about acceptance. You can't hide from who you are. You can't deny the darkness that lies within." As the shadow spoke, memories flooded my mind, moments of weakness, times I had faltered, the faces of those I had let down. I felt the weight of their disappointment pressing down on me, threatening to crush my resolve. "You have failed them," the shadow continued, advancing closer. "They trusted you, and you abandoned them. You are unworthy of the light you cling to." "No!" I shouted, shaking my head fiercely. "I made choices to survive. I faced my fears, and I am here to honor their memories, not to be consumed by them." With every declaration, the light within me flickered brighter, illuminating the darkness that threatened to engulf me. I stepped forward, feeling a surge of power course through my veins. I will not run away anymore. I will confront my past, my failures, and my fears. As my voice echoed through the clearing, the shadow began to waver, its form flickering like a candle in the wind. "You cannot fight me," it screeched, its face contorting in rage. "I am you. I am stronger than you." I shouted, raising my arms toward the gnarled tree. "I accept my past, but I will not be defined by it. I choose to live, to love, and to embrace the light within me." The light surged forth from my core, a blinding radiance that pierced the darkness. The shadow screamed, its form disintegrating in the brilliance, its cries morphing into whispers of fear and regret. "You will always carry us with you," it shrieked as it was consumed by the light. "We will return." As the last vestiges of the shadow melted away, I stood in the clearing, panting, heart racing. I had confronted the darkness within and emerged victorious, but the lingering echo of its voice sent shivers down my spine. I understood that the journey of acceptance was ongoing, a battle that would require vigilance and strength. But for now, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. The shadows that had haunted me were no longer shackles, but reminders of the strength I had gained through adversity. I could finally breathe freely, the weight of guilt and fear lifting from my shoulders. As I stepped away from the clearing, I glanced back one last time at the gnarled tree and the tombstones. "Thank you," I whispered, feeling a sense of peace envelop me. I will carry your memories with me, not as chains, but as a part of my journey. As I walked back down the path, the forest transformed around me. The sunlight broke through the canopy, bathing the ground in warmth and light. The shadows that had once tormented me retreated to the corners of my mind, no longer holding power over me. And yet, as I continued forward, a chill swept through the air, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beneath the surface. I knew that the shadows would always exist, waiting for moments of weakness, testing my resolve. But I was prepared. I had faced the darkness and emerged stronger. I had learned to accept my fears, my past, and my vulnerabilities. I was not defined by the shadows. I was the light that would guide me forward. As I stepped onto the open road, I took a deep breath, feeling the air fill my lungs. I was ready for whatever lay ahead, ready to embrace the challenges, the joys, and the uncertainties of life. And in that moment, I understood that the journey was far from over. The shadows might return, but I would meet them head-on, armed with the light I had discovered within myself. The echoes of the past would always be a part of me, but they would not dictate my future. I was free to live, free to love, and free to choose my own path. With a newfound sense of purpose, I stepped forward into the unknown, ready to embrace the journey that awaited me. The forest thickened around me as I made my way down the path, the branches arching overhead like skeletal fingers reaching for the sky. Each step felt deliberate, a conscious choice to move forward despite the persistent whispers that clung to my consciousness. It was as though the woods themselves were alive, watching my every move with a blend of curiosity and malice. Suddenly, I stopped. A faint rustle in the underbrush drew my attention. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, and I held my breath, straining to listen. Was it the wind? A small animal? Or something more sinister lurking just out of sight? I took a cautious step closer, my heart pounding in my chest. The sounds intensified, transforming into a soft, eerie whisper. Come back, it seemed to call, echoing with a familiarity that sent chills down my spine. It was the voice of the shadows, coaxing me, inviting me to return to the depths of despair I had fought so hard to escape. No, I murmured, shaking my head defiantly. I won't go back. But the urge to follow the voice was strong, and I felt the weight of my fears trying to pull me back. I turned my back to the sound and pushed forward, forcing myself to focus on the path ahead. With every step, the whispers faded, but the darkness lingered like a fog, thick and suffocating. My thoughts spiraled back to the clearing and the twisted reflection of myself. What if I hadn't truly defeated the shadow? What if it had merely retreated, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again? I could feel doubt creeping back in, wrapping around my thoughts like a vine, squeezing tighter with every passing second. Then, I remembered the warmth of the light that had surged within me, the strength I had drawn from my acceptance. I am not defined by my fears, I whispered to myself, my voice steadying. I am stronger than this. As I walked deeper into the woods, I became aware of the shift in the atmosphere. The light filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the ground, but the edges of the clearing ahead were darker, more foreboding. It felt like a threshold, a boundary between what was known and what lay beyond, a point of no return. With a resolve I didn't fully understand, I stepped into the clearing, and time seemed to stop. The air felt electric, crackling with energy. The gnarled tree stood at the center, more imposing than ever, its branches twisting toward the heavens like hands reaching for salvation. The tombstones surrounded it, each one a silent witness to the struggles of those who had come before me. Are you ready to face what you truly are? A voice boomed from the depths of the shadows. It was deep and resonant, echoing in my bones. My heart raced as I turned to face the source. The dark figure materialized before me, swirling with shadows that cloaked its features. It was a monstrous reflection of my deepest fears, a grotesque version of myself that thrived on despair and darkness. "Who are you?" I demanded, though my voice wavered. "What do you want?" "I am you," it hissed, stepping closer, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "I am the part of you that you deny, the darkness you refuse to acknowledge. You can't escape me. You never could." I stood my ground, trying to steady my breath. "I've faced you before, and I will face you again. You don't scare me anymore." "Ah, but you are scared, aren't you?" it sneered, circling me like a predator. "You fear the truth of who you are, the mistakes you've made. You fear the consequences of your choices." It gestured toward the tombstones, and the names etched upon them glowed ominously, a reminder of lives intertwined with my own, people I had lost, people I had failed. Guilt washed over me like a tidal wave. "You've let them down. You've let yourself down," it taunted, its voice a venomous whisper. I could feel the weight of regret pressing down on my chest, a familiar burden that had haunted me for years. "I did what I had to do," I replied, my voice trembling but resolute. "I made choices to survive. I've learned, I've grown." "Grown?" The figure laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. "You think this is growth? You've merely built walls to hide your weaknesses. You're afraid to let anyone see the real you, the broken, flawed, scared person who just wants to be loved." The words cut deep, and I felt my resolve wavering. But then, a spark ignited within me. I had been afraid of the darkness for so long, but I had also learned to embrace the light. "I won't be ashamed of who I am," I shouted, my voice rising above the darkness. "I accept my fears, my failures, and my pain. They are part of me, but they do not define me." The figure recoiled as if struck, the shadows around it flickering. "You think you can defeat me?" it growled, its voice low and menacing. "I am your past, your regrets. You cannot escape me." But I could feel the light within me surging, fueled by every experience, every choice that had led me to this moment. "I will not be afraid any longer," I declared, stepping closer to the figure. "You may be part of my past, but you are not my future." With that, I reached deep within, summoning the warmth of acceptance and self-love I had cultivated. I extended my hands toward the darkness, channeling that light with every ounce of strength I possessed. "I reject the power you have over me," I cried out. The darkness writhed and twisted, the figure howling in rage. Shadows splintered and fractured, consumed by the brilliance of the light that erupted from my core. I could feel the energy radiating through me, filling the clearing with warmth and illumination. The shadow convulsed, its form collapsing in on itself as I pressed forward, determined to banish the darkness once and for all. "You will not control me," I yelled, my voice resonating with a fierce conviction. "I choose to live. I choose to embrace my truth." As the last remnants of the shadow faded away, a powerful rush of energy surged through me, lifting me from the ground. I felt liberated, unshackled from the chains of fear and regret. The clearing brightened, and the tombstones around me glowed with an ethereal light, a testament to the love and memories they held. In that moment, I understood that my journey wasn't about erasing the darkness. It was about integrating it, understanding it, and learning from it. I could honor those I had lost without being consumed by guilt. As the light enveloped me, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over me. I had confronted my fears, faced the darkness within, and emerged victorious. Though the shadows would always exist, I was armed with the knowledge that I could withstand them. With one final glance at the clearing, I whispered a heartfelt thank you to the spirits of the past. I will carry your memories with me, not as burdens, but as a source of strength. You will live on in my heart. As I stepped away from the clearing and into the open road, I breathed in the crisp air, feeling a profound sense of clarity. The sunlight flooded the path before me, illuminating my way forward. Each step felt lighter, more purposeful. I was ready to embrace the life that lay ahead, to face the unknown with courage and resilience. But as I ventured into the world beyond the forest, a flicker of doubt brushed against my consciousness. Would the shadows ever truly leave me? Would they return to test my resolve? And as if in answer, a gentle breeze swept through the trees, carrying with it a whisper that sent a chill down my spine. We will always be here. Hope your dreams are filled with fear. Good night.